Rising up, back on the street. Did my time, took my chances. Went the distance, now I'm back on my feet. Just a man and his will to survive. It's deep, eye of the tiger, it's the thrill of the fight. Rising up to the challenge of our rival. And the last known survivors don't sit praying the night. And these virgin of all and beyond. Face to face, out in the heat. Hanging up, saying hungry. They stack the odds till we get to the street. Overkill with the skill to survive. Eye of the tiger, it's the thrill of the fight. Rising up to the challenge of our rival. And the last known survivor stops his prey in the night.
Okay, hey you guys, welcome to Unexpected Live. I kept all day going, am I going to do a live or not? Pretty much me and the bed liked each other more than I loved you guys, to be honest with you. Then I was like, this SF investigator guy, he's a thing, isn't he? I was like, okay, Melissa, deciding if I want to do a live. Sharon had asked me. I was like, nah, not tonight. I'm just watching a bunch of videos and stuff like that, eh? Then Melissa's like, I'm down. And I'm like, okay.
I was over here playing my video games, minding my own business, relaxing. And you're like, I want to do a live. And I'm like, yeah, sure, I'm down. Let's go.
I love it when someone, you know what I love? I think I like these comments the best. You know, when you throw your hair up in like literally a minute and just so you can look, you know, and toss on just a little bit of makeup and go, okay, that's what I'm going to do. And then someone says you look great. Honestly, I get the most compliments whenever I do toss my hair up, typically. Always makes me laugh, right? Because it's like literally like the 2-minute get ready thing. Thanks for Stefa. Hi, Ben. How are you? God, he was being a little flirt yesterday, wasn't he? Love Sharon. Love you. Love you, everyone. Oh, yeah, Sunny. By the way, so sorry. Love you too. Yeah, something like that. Right, Ben? Anyways, you guys. We'll first, of course, talk about Sebastian Rogers and his walk that's on the 1st here of March. So again, please join us as we ask for prayers and strength for Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, his loved ones, and most importantly, law enforcement in Sumner County. As we move towards the 1-year anniversary, we need all the strength and prayers and unity we can get. Saturday, March 1st, 2025, 2 p.m. at the Celebration of Life Church, 768 Forest Retreat Road. Every time I see that name, Retreat Road, it always throws me off in a sense. It's almost like fitting a little bit on there. But anyways, so obviously you guys know that SF, well, here, let me take that down for a second. Might as well share the screen. All right. Obviously, you guys have seen this useless video that was put out by SF Investigates. And then he starts backtracking on his Twitter account. You know what, Melissa? Why don't you start off with this one? Because I just keep wanting to use like words that aren't so pretty whenever I talk about this dude.
I don't know that my words are any better, honestly. I mean, yeah, let's just put it out there like this. The man was paid 15 grand to supposedly private investigate this case. And all he has done is throw more drama on it, more fuel on the fire, fake images, said things that are factually incorrect. And you know what really pisses in my Cheerios right now is that he is doing this 4 days ahead of the 1 year anniversary of this case.
Right. And then he
And
said it was
it's,
supposed to drop next week.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like, law enforcement has had this, they've looked at this, and you want to be like, oh, it's gonna break the case. No, what's gonna break the case, you dumb fuck, is if Katie fucking Brownstead opens her freaking mouth. There, I said it.
Yeah, I was trying to be
Did I
gentler
say
with
it
my
loud
words,
enough for those in the back?
I think so. Uh, you know, I told you he was a narcissist, just like Christopher Proudfoot, but he's a 10.0. On his Twitter, he's like, "Oh, this wasn't supposed to be released till next week." Oh, shut the fucking front door, you piece of shit liar. Honestly, that guy. Did the Proudfoots hire him to just literally railroad this case, or is he doing it just purely out of his own narcissistic ego? Um, beyond that, it's just so stupid
I
because
honestly, at this point, I think, like you just said, he was hired to railroad this case. And, to sit there and say, oh, this wasn't supposed to be released till next week. Really? Because law enforcement has had it and said it doesn't, it's of no value.
yeah,
So why are you throwing fake news out there? Why are you throwing information out there that clearly has nothing to do
yeah.
with this case?
1 second. Come on.
So it sounds like Steffa hasn't seen the video because she said, what is this video? I'll tell you, it's a big old nothing burger, as Sunny would put it.
So basically, what this video is of basically, right, so Bobby, the binocular Bobby, she lives up on Kelly Lane up there. People have posted her address, but she lives up on top of the hill. This is video footage, say, from a house that SF investigates. Is like, has 12:17 a.m. been accounted for? And it's almost like he's only putting out a part of the video instead of the true video where I think Mob Crew said like it's almost like somebody's walking their dog and whatever. But this piece of the clip comes out and it's almost like so you see where that Jeep is in the picture here. Let me see here. Does this make it bigger? Here, let's see if it's playing here. I gotta watch an ad first. Hold on. Skip ad. Okay, so actually this one has a couple parts. This one does have both parts, I believe, to it. And then you'll see like a person. Did they even show it in this one? They actually don't show it. Anyways, there's a person that's supposed like it's coming here. And to me, you can also tell that like there's a person like right here as well. It looks like. Let me just make that smaller again. All 5 photos. Anyways, you know what?
It just showed it. Make it bigger and go back because it did just show it.
Give me a sec on that. We'll just, we'll run through this fake news video. Yeah, you can see it right here in this here. But okay, new surveillance video, yawn, has been made public in the year-long search for Sebastian Rogers, a boy with autism who went missing from his home in Sumner County on February. What the heck is that? Something is playing. I hate these type of things. Come on. It won't stop. Stop. There we go. Okay. Steve Fisher Steve Dusher, a private investigator working with Katie and Chris Proudfoot, Sebastian's biological mother and stepfather, said the video appears to show a figure walking on Kellen Lane, a block from Sebastian Rogers' residence. Fisher said it was taken at 12:17 a.m. the night Sebastian went missing. It's definitely a person, said Dusher. It looks like a thin person wearing dark clothing walks down south on Kellen Lane behind a vehicle and appears like he or she is trying to stay out of sight of the person walking their dog. They go behind this car for a little while, then turn around and come back the same way they came from. Dusher said a person walking their dog had passed by moments earlier in the footage. The block is also near an ongoing construction site that I want to say Dusher each time because he's a douche, said a tracking dog potentially hit upon when search crews canvassed the area right after Sebastian's disappearance. Law enforcement has the video in which Dusher said he used tools to enhance for a clear view. That he said he used, but yet wasn't it him that said that they did an white overlay? Anyways, unfortunately, he said it's not likely the figure in this video could ever be identified. Duh. It took 3 times watching all the video before we found that, said Dusher. Sumner County's office working with TBI and FBI on the case has said there has been no confirmed sightings of Sebastian since he went missing or significant leads in the case. Detectives have said they are leaving nothing off the table. This is an active, ongoing investigation. We work to continue, blah, 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 blah. As for this new surveillance video, Sheriff Eric Craddock sent F. Foxine a news statement. Law enforcement has the possession of the original video since 72 hours after Sebastian was reported missing. After thoroughly investigating this lead, we determined it had no relevance to the case. However, CSO did not specifically respond to whether detectives have identified the figure in this video, nor will they. Good enough. Honestly, it's literally a waste of time. This video, it's good music. So really, you know, SF to me is doing more harm to this case than anything by putting this type of shit out there, because then you have the morons that are still going to run with it, even though it's of no evidentiary value and it's just doofus posting a video right before Sebastian's 1-year anniversary, claiming it was supposed to come out next week. Shut the fucking front door, you fucking useless tit, is all I gotta say. He is such a loser. And it's like his ego is so far out there into outer space. He claims he's trying to do for Sebastian. All I see is a guy making an absolute mockery of the case, like Christopher Proudfoot, the other big narcissist in this whole Sebastian Rogers case. The two of them can't get past their own darn egos. And it's like, do you honestly think, Fisher, Dusher, whatever, that we're going to believe you when you say, oh, my bad, it was supposed to, and I never said it was, something that was, going to make or break the case. And oops, it wasn't supposed to come out till next week. Nobody gives a shit because it's useless video. And so it's kind of like, why does he keep doing this stuff? Putting out backyard footage with everything cropped, with the little filter thing over it, as if somehow the back of the Proudfoot home, like nobody's ever seen that before, multiple times, and stuff like that. He's making reasonable doubt, and they are not even arrested yet. Right? It's like, did the Proudfoots hire him? I swear to God, just to keep deflecting from the truth of it all. Honestly, it's that stupid that you honestly believe, because the narcissists are so full of themselves, but they're so transparent to everybody else that's not a narcissist, that they just stand out like a sore thumb of what truly their motivation is and stuff like that.
And I will say, I'm not 1000% on Tony's side. I'm not. I think he's better than I had originally given him credit for. But Tony could investigate this case better than Douchebag here, because Douchebag is throwing out false information left, right, and center instead of focusing on finding Sebastian. Law enforcement has said they've had it, they've looked at it, they've analyzed it.
See,
It's not of value.
I
So
guess he
for
thinks that
you
he's
to
so
sit there and
special.
say, oh, it wasn't supposed to be till next week. For what next week? So you could say, oh, this wasn't supposed to be released at all. Obviously, you knew it was getting released because you spoke to the news crew.
Right. Absolutely. And this is just, like I said, it's a doucher stunt. He's so full of it. Yeah, honestly, I just, this guy is just a waste of breath, a waste of space, a waste of space on this planet. Useless to this Sebastian Rogers case. And I guess he thinks that he's special, that he can find that needle in a haystack information that that all the LE and whoever looked at the videos or whatever, that they couldn't, that they didn't find it, but he thinks he's so special. Again, this is just a useless video of somebody walking their dog that he's putting out there. Do you think the LE has identified this person at 12:17 a.m. because he's so darn special that he found this? Give me a break. And then I didn't say this. I didn't do this. I didn't put a filter on it. Oh, God. That just makes me sick. Just so.
I don't know about you, Sonny, but when I watched it, the quote unquote figure looked awfully transparent.
Meaning what?
Like, as in almost ghost like you could see through the, like, okay,
Yeah.
when you're walking in front of a video, you see movement, you see a person, you see darkness. And it's like in this video, when I seen the person, it's like, is that even in the actual original video? Show me the original, not with the light on it, showing me where to look, not an edited version.
The person, whoever that person was, they weren't wearing dark clothes from what it looked like. It looked like they were wearing like lighter clothes, like brownie gray or no, brownie creamy or something like that. Like it didn't look like it was black clothes. But yeah, it was like a ghost invaded the video here, honestly. It was all of a sudden blurp blurp, then in the light you can kind of see something. But that's what happens, I guess, when you play with videos. But I know Mob Cruz he was making this comment about why this was a good thing. But it wasn't about the video being a good thing, but it was almost about something. It almost came across like it was something about that the person who gave this video, something like, he didn't exactly say, because I think he was saving it for Patreon or whatever and stuff like that. But it was almost to say like this video was given to a certain person, and so now you can see that he's untrustworthy, basically. By being, it sounded like it was coming across like being underhanded and like doing this, which basically showed the person, I think, that had given him the information. It came off like something like that. And I was like, no. Steve Fisher being a douchebag? No. I just hate that he has my husband's name. Take that name out of your mouth. Change your name, dumbass.
I mean, he's
Anyways.
just such a drama king. He just wants to, and what gets me And what really, like I said, really pisses in my Cheerios is the man wants to release, and this isn't the first time, okay? He wants to release these images and these videos and all of this stuff. And it's not helping find Sebastian. It's just fueling the drama of this case. And if that's what they want, go to a drama channel. I want facts. And this man can't seem to produce a single fact from what I can tell.
No, like I said, it's I can't help but think of what Seth said about his PIs, and saying that, if you're a private, note the word private, investigator, and then you're going all over social media and spreading stuff like this crap, and I mean, the arrogant, narcissistic douche that he is, he's too busy. Like, this guy is so beyond unprofessional, like way beyond unprofessional. This guy is ridiculously stupid. He looks like an absolute fool for the way he talks and acts. And when he was on the Lore Lodge, he's just a mumbling idiot. Every time he was talking, it was like he couldn't even conjure a sentence without, let me, I mean, what I'm trying to say is, well, if you do the math, and it's like, oh my God, seriously? Like, go back to your freaking AI typing or whatever it is you're doing. Because you sounded like a complete moron on the Lore Lodge there as well. But yeah, actually, you know what got me about on the Lore Lodge? One thing that always stuck out was when he's like, I get $15,000 and $2,200 a day. And he's like, I don't know if the Proudfoots are guilty or not. I mean, and I'm just like, if I'm paying you, dude, and you say something like that, the guy, he just doesn't have a filter on his mouth at all whatsoever. I don't know. What do you guys think about it all? Because to me, this guy is just doing more damage to the case than anything. I'm just going to take this down for a sec. Go back. Twitter. Such a douche. On this one, it says, I am currently on a search, so I will not be commenting further today. However, the video that has been released from was not supposed to be made public until next week. Like, it was so damn special. I never stated to WSMV that this could be the break. Liar, Pinocchio. I'm going to need another thumbnail with big Pinocchio-ass nose for him. During an interview, I only mentioned that we would like to know whether law enforcement has accounted for this individual at 12:17, as we cannot account for them. That's because you're not law enforcement, dumbass. And you'll never have the same material or even close to it that law enforcement has, because you ain't that special, Mr. Doucher. The screenshot. Go ahead.
He even said on Lore Lodge that he's not in contact with the LE on this case.
Yeah, even though that's not what he represented it to be like. He represented it to be like that he was like working hand in hand right beside them type of thing. Kind of like what Christopher Proudfoot does. Maybe at start, yeah. With Christopher Proudfoot. But then, yeah, and then he like put his tail between his legs and was like, well, I mean, they're part of like the search and rescue team that, works with the law enforcement. Yeah, not even the same thing, jerk off. Yeah. And so it's, yeah. I mean, he said, like, I don't even know that you could fix this type of stupid with this person. Says, the screenshot I've seen from the news story uses a daylight overlay. Isn't it funny? They said that he used it, whatever, to enhance it, rather than the raw footage I have not personally viewed the news video or read the news articles. Liar, liar. However, I want to make it clear that I was not aware that this was being released today. I also want to make it clear that we provide this footage, the other footage, to TBI. They don't need it. They don't need your effing help. They don't need your help at all, Steve Fisher. Why? Because they have so much more than you could ever have on Sebastian Rogers' case. He thinks that don't forget, right? Because, according to all his mapping and graphs and shit, right? That was some guy taking the garbage down with the flashlight, and they just happenstance, be lucky, and they determined all this stuff, and then I love how he uses like Cluminati and her husband, I think it was, as like, that was like as if they were part of the team that was helping to, like figure this all out. The last person's channel I'm ever going to believe is that one, Cluminati's. Like, seriously? You're literally saying that these people assisted you? I seriously, I lost my stomach on that one, belly full of laugh, when I was reading that, when he put that.
But let's
Yeah,
keep in mind, like I sent you a screenshot, and it was not the Sebastian case. Okay, this is another case that it had to deal with, but this, and I'll use quotation marks here and this term very loosely, this private investigator, who isn't much of an investigator and is not private because he's on Twitter just fighting back and forth with people. But he puts out this drone footage and he's like, I need the public's help if you want to look at the drone footage. And it's like, really? Like, you're supposed to be a private investigator. Why are you going to the public? And that, it ties back to he's going to people like Clue to help look at this. Really? Like, isn't that what you were paid to do?
Oh, no. They were helping them. What's the word I want to use? When you're trying to mimic this scenario, right? And do tests to see, about those lights and stuff like that. And it was just like, give me a fucking break. When I seen those names, I was like, oh yeah, that right there, including his own. Why would I even listen to that after that point?
You use those names and I instantly discredit anything else that comes out of your mouth afterwards.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, where's Sebastian stuff? Oh, okay, here, 1 second. Stop screen. Oh, Miss Dog Lover. Happen to see that. Bills to pay. Want to thank you.
Miss Dog Lover super chat. 19 pounds and 99
Miss Dog Lover.
You're awesome.
She's.
Hello, waving hand. Smiling face with hearts. Kissing face.
Kissy faces for Mark, isn't it? I feel like that's what that's for. I feel like Miss Dog Lover, she's like paying me now so I don't boot her from the channel, because she consistently lies to us all the time when she says she's going to bed. And then 20 minutes later, Miss Dog Lover still posting. An hour later, Miss Dog Lover says she's going to bed again. Still posting. I feel like this is now like her just paying for being able to stay in the channel. Yeah. Thank you, Miss Dog Lover. When is Katie doing the interview? Not sure. Nobody seems to really know, but I'm sure it's going to come out on the 1 year. Mark doesn't like what he said. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Don't you think, Melissa, they're going to drop it on the 1 year anniversary probably? And
if that psychotic woman does not get off her ass and do something for the 1 year anniversary for Sebastian, and she thinks the world hates her now, it's
Well,
going to get a lot worse.
well, she has an interview coming, right? That's going to be dropping. It's just a matter of what day it's dropping on. But you know what? Let me quickly show Ben that, and then we're going to get into that stuff. So let me go to Google Maps here. Here, let me make us off the screen for a second and go to Google Maps, and we'll exit screen. Okay, so Sebastian's house is here. We got to find a better. I don't know why Google takes us to this shit view. Give me a better timeline. Is this better? Okay, so that's honeysuckle. We don't want honeysuckle. Oh, I think my thing's turned around. That's why too as well. Frick off. Come on. Okay, Sebastian's house. And this is Kellen Lane right here, right? So basically, I think it's right about here. Bobby lives in like this one probably. Towards the end. So basically, let's just use this house right here because Bobby lives like, well, I mean, is this, let me just see where this takes me for a second here. So that's Bobby's house, the blurred out one right here. And this is the house that has the camera. Okay, so that's where that is. And this is where the house with the light on it. And like there's the Jeep or whatever here. So, or wherever the Jeep is, the side or the side. Anyway, so that's Bobby's house there. Construction site is there. So I just don't know why the stupid timeline. Come on now. Okay. So yeah. That's the house there. Camera's on, I guess, this one here. Looking across here, that's Bobby's house. Looking onto the construction site there. So obviously Sebastian's home is here. Okay. So again, a person that's going down the road, obviously, because SF is so smart, this person that's going to try to avoid cameras if a child's leaving, he's going to just sit there and wiggle his way through, even though most of these houses, every other one, there's tons of cameras. Okay. There's literally tons of cameras on Stafford and Kellen Lane. There's just cameras everywhere. So yeah, Sebastian's just going to walk down the street in front of cameras, avoid it all this way, not be seen on any cameras here, and just strut on down the road. Anyways, super dumbass. Super dumbass. You're welcome, Ben. All right. Let's go back to that for a second. Okay, Melissa. What were we going to talk about?
I have a question. Like, at what point can SF be investigated for obstruction of justice and hindering this prosecution?
Yeah, unfortunately, can't. I'm sure. It's just ridiculous. But okay, so what we were going to talk about though before I showed Ben that, I said we'll come back to that. I think it was about, like, I don't know, what was it actually? I forgot already. That's how tired my brain is. Like, you're the one that brought it up and you forget too. And I said, we'll come back to it. Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Me neither. Anyways, what I did want to talk about, shoot, I can't remember what you said, but okay. So Bullhorn Betty. Oh, God bless that lady. So she had a exclusive interview.
Can we even really call it that? I mean, honestly.
I'd never use that term for what it was. I was thinking, so when I see the word exclusive interview, to me, that's a family member, a neighbor, somebody that's like really on the case, not some TikToker that's covering the case. But hey, it's her title. I find it very irritating because I wasn't expecting a TikToker that's just like anybody else covering a case. Now, in saying that, that's not to say that TikToker doesn't follow the case like any of us and very invested in it. That's so for me. And again, I'm just gonna, Buller and Betty speaks her truth. I'm gonna speak my truth. Um, I would never use exclusive interview from somebody off of TikTok to act like she's sort of some special person that's involved. Like that's what it came across like when you do exclusive interview, right? Don't you guys take it that way? I know the guest was a TikToker, so and
That
I
was
don't
like
want
an
to.
hour of my life wasted.
That was honestly there was okay. There was two things that I even took away from that whole entire thing. And honestly, I didn't even watch it all. I just was like fast forwarding. I just wasn't interested in watching some TikToker really talk about Sebastian's case that none of us here on YouTube have ever talked about. And I still want people to know because I am going to let you know this channel was the first one to cover the Sebastian Rogers case on YouTube, but it did come from TikTok because that's where Aspen got it from on the 26th. So I just want people to remember that, okay? When they're all claiming that they were the first people, no. Go back to my videos. February 27th was when we actually did a live for it. February 26th is when I put out tweets because Aspen had shared it with me. For all these people kind of claiming that they were the first ones, now, no, I just want to put that out there. Maybe you can call that braggadocious rights or whatever. No, it's just that I get so tired of listening to people claiming shit that's not true. But in saying that, by the same token, I guess they feel like they were the ones, because again, there was nobody. There was only Nick Perez and the WSM whatever were they were the only things that had been put out there on YouTube. Why? Because I searched for it as soon as Aspen sent it to me. Nobody was covering this case. But then when it exploded, I think virtually pretty much like the next 2 days, then you started gaining traction. And she did say the same thing I said, is that everyone was focused on Riley's strain. Um, but Sebastian needed the awareness as well. And Sebastian was only like 20 minutes away from the Riley strain that was going on. Did ya? Butt plug Bruno. Any relation to Steve Fisher? Anyway,
One and the same.
and so no, so I don't. You know what? I don't want to take away from Bullhorn Betty. Because I would rather listen to her shit than Cluminati's or those crap channels any day of the week. And I think that Bullhorn Betty's heart, like she's been definitely a person of a lot of hatred and a lot of talk throughout YouTube. That's the only reason why I even know about her. I mean, I was following the Gabby Petito case, and I had no clue that Bullhorn Betty was that one that was standing on the sisters' freaking street that day with Trev time, I guess. Anyways, I just had known that her name is very. It's like her or hate her type of person, right? I personally don't have anything against Bullhorn Betty myself, honestly. Um, I think that she's a very vocal person for sure, but then she does things like I think all of us, right? But she puts stuff out there that's not true either, or especially when she's playing with portraits and then saying, anyways, well, I digress on that one. But anyways, I personally don't have no ill feelings towards Bullhorn Betty at all. Mind you, I hate it when people use exclusive interview and it's just a freaking TikToker. Who gives a shit? She's a TikToker. It's not an exclusive interview with a TikToker that's following the case. So that kind of bored the shit out of me right when I saw that, unfortunately. But I did take two things away, and I'll come back to you in a sec, Ben. Um, I took away that there was the Ken Widener interview she said out there where he said that the scent only went to the garage door, and that she couldn't find that interview anymore. And once I looked up who Ken Widener was, I didn't really realize his name, but I mean, obviously I see that guy all the time in the Sebastian Rogers case. And the only other thing I took away from that was kind of the same thing we think a lot, is that the only explanation is one of the very few ones, is that Sebastian was put into Katie's car and left that way, you know, because nothing else makes sense to how Sebastian left on his own accord or with somebody else. So go ahead for a second, and then we'll come back to Ben's question. Go ahead, Melissa. I need to get some water.
So for me, if that was really said, then I agree, with her. And I've said it before, long before this interview, that it seems to me Sebastian was put in a vehicle due to the dogs where they caught a scent and where they stopped. But without hearing him say it, I don't know. Like, I feel the same way, but I didn't hear him say it, and I don't have the video of him saying it, so I don't know. As far as Ben's question why she's gone, I'll go ahead and answer you. I don't think they're clueless. I think they just don't have the evidence that they need to pursue charges, personally. Lions, I feel Sebastian could be found at a movie theater watching the new movie coming out with the autistic child, whomever who has him. I doubt that. Just my opinion. You're welcome to yours, but I doubt that. And yes, they do need a cure for MS. My uncle died of MS. Or, well, I guess technically you die from complications of it. But yeah, I think doucher there, and I think there's a lot of people putting out false information and trying to derail this and point people in directions, and all they're doing is creating false leads, more calls to law enforcement that have nothing to do with anything, and it doesn't help find Sebastian at all. And that is the point of doing these lives, is to put out factual information and finding Sebastian, because he's what matters. And when you have a quote unquote private investigator that's an idiot, in my opinion, that does not move the needle in finding Sebastian. Do you think there will be a presser on the anniversary? If there's not, I will be highly surprised. I look for Seth to do an interview with news or a national network on the anniversary. And like I said a while ago, if that whatever you're going to call her doesn't do one, then that says a lot more about her than it does anything. Nick B said he was going to be putting out new info next week. About what?
Ginger.
Ginger.
Well, I'm thinking that will come out next week about what. Well, we saw, oh yeah, which reminds me, I mean, I did have it up there. Let me just go back to it. Actually, fuck you, SF Investigates. Nick. One sec. I mean, I know people have already seen this. I guess, is he getting a haircut? 4 hours ago. So obviously with thank you guys. Thank you guys for joining. Don't forget to hit that like button, okay, guys? Appreciate. Thank you. So it says nope, nothing new. Next week's anniversary will mark an unfortunate milestone. 1 year since 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers disappeared from his Hendersonville, Tennessee home. And with that, you can expect more stories on the sad case. Several of you, oh my goodness, my brother-in-law's coughing hard. And several of you are messaging me with a possible new development. Today, a few other media outlets are reporting that the private investigator has discovered new video, douchebag SF, supposedly showing someone walking in the neighborhood the night the teen disappeared. It has been reported as a possible break in the search for Sebastian. Unfortunately, this is not the case. The Sumner County Sheriff issued the statement about 72 hours they had this footage. After thoroughly investigating this lead, we determined it had no relevance to the case. I'd also talked to the district attorney, Ray Whitley, who says, no, this is nothing new. They had this video from the beginning and vetted it early on, of no relevance because SF thinks he's special and found something. This is not a new lead. That's a shame. I wish it was something helpful. There remains a great deal of misinformation still out there on this case. That being said, I am working on a story for next week that will spell out the very latest in the investigation, including some new details, factual details. Remember, anyone with information, call 1-800-TBI-FIND. And of course, Sebastian Rogers. Yeah. So that's what she means by that. Yeah. There. So, did you answer Ben's question where he said, Sonny and Melissa, do you think LE are clueless? Yep.
Yeah, I did. I'll say it again because you weren't here, but I don't think they're clueless. I think that they are just lacking the evidence that they need to make an arrest.
Well, Sebastian just didn't disappear. It's that simple. And one set of parents is definitely probably lying, and it sure ain't from the Seth side. There's nothing there at all to show that Seth had anything at all to do with his son's disappearance. In fact, it's a complete opposite. People that have been inconsistent. Oh, I know what we were going to talk about. Let's talk about Katie Proudfoot for a second. Okay? Katie Proudfoot barely has done any interviews. She's done a few. Most of the time, it's Christopher Narcissistic Proudfoot that has done the talking in most of it. We've said this many, many, many times. If that's the way that you would represent me, Katie Proudfoot, if I was your child missing, give me up for adoption because you don't even deserve to be a parent. Neither of you two do. Christopher Proudfoot or Katie Proudfoot. So the lack of this woman, this so-called mother, I use loosely, that is trying to find her son, and by closing herself off, that means that she's looking for her son? Or is that the sign of guilt? Of somebody that knows exactly where her son is, and kind of like what her mother's second cousin, which would be her what? Auntie of some sort?
No, it was Katie's second cousin. It's her mom's cousin, Yada. It's Katie's second cousin.
Second cousin. Thank you. When she said fake tears for Katie, it makes you look at that whole thing in a different view again. Is that someone that's just conjuring up those feelings? Because right from the get-go of that interview, when she freaking laughs and then puts, it was such a strange laugh. And then as she looks over to Christopher Proudfoot, like, save me, like, help, that's how I took that, like, help. And then there's no tears and then she's using a Kleenex, and then she's doing the rocking motion. It's almost like, did you watch a video on then how to pretend like your son has something's happened to him when you actually rightfully know exactly what happened to him? Because it doesn't make sense that this child walked out the door. Kiss my ass to that whole theory. He didn't. There's no way. That doesn't make sense. If you're, and I mean, so by the same token, you would think that if they're trying to make their child look like they disappeared, that you would literally hide some of the shit that he actually would have normally took him with them. But again, maybe if you're not great at trying to hide something, and then you forget about shit. But whatever. Nothing makes sense about that whatsoever. There's nothing. Okay. There's nothing that makes sense about Sebastian on his own free accord, willingly, whatever, getting into some ass vehicle, driving off with somebody. That's not. There's no footage of that to be found. Okay. Nothing. So the only thing that makes sense is that Sebastian was possibly in the trunk or handed off from the time that Katie went out, which is what that girl said on Betty's live as well, because nothing actually makes sense. There's nothing else that fits in there that really makes sense. The flashlight video doesn't make sense, to be honest with you. It doesn't align to me with this vehicle coming into the neighborhood, considering there's all these other cameras around that would have seen this vehicle regardless. This is the one that's called the foreign vehicle that goes up Callan, the one I said possibly. And then again, we can't really believe SF at all. If he does stupid shit like what he did today, and then he tries to make it seem like it was Amazon, like think of it like Amazon or like, Uber or whatever. Think of it like somebody that comes into the area but doesn't necessarily live there. So I was like, okay, maybe the paper dude or something like that. So I think there's maybe something to Katie's mother talking to Sebastian that morning. Well, again, we don't really know because Tony used that for an example, but then by the same token, he turned that back and said, well, it's not like I'm saying that Sebastian was talking to his grandmother that day. So sometimes you don't know if that was a slip or if that he just genuinely said that, like, was using that
that was definitely a slip. That was definitely a slip, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because it's like it dawned on him what he had actually said, and like the very next breath he was trying to backtrack.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Wow. Hey, Loxy. I wouldn't go off based in interviews. Even the best interviews from parents turn out to be guilty as well. It's the only thing we got to go on.
I look at it like this. Okay. Let's get back to the actual facts of this case. Real quick rundown of the facts of this case. Sebastian had basically a yes day. He went and did a whole bunch of stuff, which is typically overstimulating for an autistic child, and I should know I have one. So, okay, he has a great day. Goes to Texas Roadhouse. Goes home with mother, Katie Proudfoot. Disappears in the middle of the night. Dad, Seth Rogers, is on security camera because he works at the jail. Mm-hmm. I'll even give Christopher Proudfoot the benefit of the doubt that he was in Memphis. So that only leaves Katie Proudfoot in the home at the time of the disappearance or the crime.
Yeah.
Her and her alone. Did I miss anything in that real quick rundown? People need to use their head and get back to, and it just boggles my mind that people want to blame Seth when Seth was on video at the jail doing his job.
Oh my God, absolutely. Oops. Sorry, my bad. Took a wrong breath there. Right, absolutely. Absolutely. Like there's legit proof where Seth was on that day. you know. And same too. I'll even give Christopher the benefit of the doubt, give it because based on the PIs from Seth's side and others that uh, he was on the job site at 5:15, meaning Christopher Proudfoot. So definitely we'll give that. As for thinking that some father would spend a year of his time faking it to bring up his social media account that he didn't have. I mean, he had it, but it had a couple videos on it from like a long time ago. That's just ridiculous. Like, you know what I mean? There's common sense, and then there's, you know, using logic as well to that. So that is crystal clear, right, Christopher Proudfoot? You know, you love it when I talk dirty to you like that. He does. Support. No, it was actual evidence. Chris Watts' interview was the best thing to his case. The world knew at that point he was responsible. Interviews can be very important. Absolutely. Anyone, just like Barry Morphew's video. Anyone that saw Barry Morphew's video reaching out for his wife's, oh, Suzanne, we want you back. Hold on, let me control my no tears. We want you back so bad. Christopher Watts there, standing there with a smirk on his face. You know, I just want them back so bad. Hold on.
And something I will say as
Yeah.
far as the interviews go, well, two
Right.
things actually. One is if there's an arrest made in this case, and I sure hope to God there is, and if it turns out to be Katie Proudfoot, who in my honest opinion it is, then I hope to God they use those interviews where she's laughing and making the neck cutting motion in court. But that being said, if it's not her, why you got to make yourself look so guilty? You can't keep your story straight. It's constantly
That's a huge
evolving
difference.
into a completely different story.
Yeah.
I mean, come.
You know what? This isn't about, like I said, trying to blame the Proudfoots because we don't like them or something like that. Not the case. They've dug their own grave themselves, personality wise, to the public, and the inconsistencies in their stories. Um, Again, the lack of the mother's response. No one can ever make me believe in this shit that people do things a certain way. Obviously, yes, everyone can have a way of reacting to a death and stuff like that, and blah, 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 blah. But no one's ever going to tell me that it's naturally okay for a mother of a missing child who doesn't know something about the case, that literally doesn't come forward to do interviews and hides when you care so much about your son. And if it's true that Katie Proudfoot literally has nothing to do with this, she is one of the biggest piece of shit moms out there then. Because to watch how she has reacted to all this is just disgusting to me. I say that now because I have hindsight to look back, even though it still felt the same way at the start. But the more and more, we're almost at the year mark, and that her sorry effing fat ass cannot be bothered to fucking search really. And all they claim is that they're fucking handing out flyers and shit, and then claim that she's like, that she just wants her son back. Like when Ken Main said that, that was the thing that stood out when he was talking to her. I was like, give me a fucking break, honestly. Seriously. You want your kid back so bad that your fucking ass can't even get off your couch because you and your husband are probably watching all these freaking videos and lives, too busy fucking laughing at them, probably from behind the scenes where they're searching and that. I'm just so over anyone ever making excuses for a pathetic mother like this, or trying to give, there's nothing you can say to me that would justify my child missing, and my ass is hiding from the cameras and hiding behind some fucking narcissistic loser like Christopher Proudfoot to sit there and act like I care about my child. Sorry, from one parent to another, you fucking suck. You fucking suck. This, I am just so pissed off when it comes to Katie Proudfoot and her son. This is how much your child means to you, that you can't even put your ass until a 1 year video, till a 1 year mark. Of course, why wouldn't she do a 1 year mark? She'd be forced, like you would have to. If not, you would be total even more embarrassment to your own son's case. Hi, Miss Kim.
Like, it would behoove her to do it. I mean, like, seriously, and do it by yourself. You don't need Christopher Proudfoot can be off camera if you need him for support,
Oh my
right?
God.
But do a 1 year interview by yourself. Speak for yourself.
Honestly, I ain't putting much weight into her pathetic interview, just only for the fact that honestly, it's honestly expected at a 1 year mark that you'd look like an even bigger douche if you didn't do an interview. It would say even huge amounts more. I mean, if you're going to keep up the act, you got to at least do the 1 year interview, regardless, or else she's going to look more pathetic than she already does. So,
well, you would have thought she would have been out there looking at least and keeping up the act too, but she isn't.
Well, that's the thing, is that what they feel and what they do is contrary usually to what the public sees. When people do things and they think like we're buying what they're selling us because they think that they're doing things to make it seem that way, but to our eyes we know that don't try to kid us here, don't try to fake us. Like Christopher Proudfoot, same thing, right? He tries to be manipulative and stuff like that, but he's transparent glass and you can see who he is, and he doesn't realize just how transparent he is. So do you see what I'm saying there about how people think they might be presenting themselves that way when truly to us they're not, because we see right through it? So that to me is the difference, because we've seen that happen time and time again. When the husband has taken the wife's life, they start helping, maybe look in the first week, and then they're like, whoo, my goodness, I'm tired now. And then they just start not going to them or not going to vigils and stuff like that. And yet it's the biggest red flags ever.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of red flags in this.
Mm-hmm. It's just over. Yeah, today for me, personally, Kim, it was just like another big joke on us. Here's a lot more misinformation and crapola, that has to be made, by LE, as well as others, because that douchebag SF Investigates wants to put out a video, wants to act like it wasn't supposed to drop till next week, wants to act like oopsie daisy, as if he's some sort of special ass dumbass investigator that somehow out of all the videos thinks he found that little piece of information out there. And it's just like, oh, I was just putting it out there just to wonder if Ali even knew about this video or had it. No shit, Sherlock. Because you think you're so goddamn special, SF, that somehow that video piece of someone like Sebastian Rogers walking past all these cameras, obviously puts himself in front of the camera before the construction site. He's such a dumbass. And he's a hindrance to this case. He wants to sit there and say that about so many other people. Look at what he's doing. He is literally causing this havoc in Sebastian Rogers' case himself. And he's like I said, he's either the biggest narcissistic, well, he is a really big narcissist, arrogant asshole, but on top of that, it's kind of like, I doubt the Proudfoots are out there. Well, I mean, they could be, but I doubt they're out there going, you know what? You just keep looking like a fool. Well, no, Christopher Proudfoot, are you kidding? These two probably have bonded like thick thieves. They're two narcissistic people. One, SF, just being more narcissistic than Christopher Proudfoot, but they're both like up there. I'd say Christopher's a 5 and SF is like a 10 narcissistic personality, that they really think that they're that brilliant and that smart, that somehow, right? And again, you watch both of them. Isn't it so comical in a sense, but disgusting by the same token? You watch both of them make complete morons of themselves, and yet they think that they're so smart on this information. You know, when Christopher Pratt, well, I didn't say who took the polygraph test. You know, oh, I never said that. I didn't say, what was that one when he said, what was it? The best part of Sebastian missing? Oh, I didn't say that. No, let's go replay it. You said it exactly word for word. Or you could go ahead and try to, word salad us, Christopher Broadfoot. But, same with SF Investigates. Why is he putting out this shit? Why? Why? All he's doing is trying to highlight his own shit, his own self. He cares about Sebastian, my ass. Care about the money? You care about your ego. You don't care about yourself. Or sorry, you care about yourself, more importantly. Here, let me just put out a video. Oops, it was supposed to come out next week. Oops, I was just trying to see if Ali had it. Oops, it has no evidentiary value, but you know what? If this can bring attention to me, SF Investigates, #1 in California, I'm the best of the best of the best of the best of the best,
But if he had a relation with law enforcement, he would have known that they've had this since almost a year ago.
Sebastian Rogers, at the end of the day, didn't just disappear. Okay, and the last person that was with him was Katie Proudfoot. There's no videos or of anything, no dog sense, no anything. So truly, where does that leave us? With Christopher Proudfoot at work, Seth Rogers at work, Katie, and of course Sebastian inside the house. And the only way for that there was movement that we even possibly know about is when Katie's car left, when she probably handed him off to one of her relatives because she didn't want him going to live with Seth. They were trying to put him in this facility. That at least makes more logical sense than anything, to be honest with you, because that child did not walk out on his own accord. Loxy, they had him. Take over for a sec, Missy, if you could. You go ahead and vent now.
Honestly, I don't know what else to say except for SF, you're a flipping idiot. Like, I guess what gets me is like with that, not only was it, well, I just wanted to see if law enforcement had it. Well, if you had a relationship with law enforcement, you would know that. But the whole, well, it wasn't supposed to come out till next week. Well, you knew it was coming out, though. You did an interview with the news crew. You yourself, posted it and then edited your post and all. It bugs me. He's just, SF, you're a flippin' hack. I'll say it. You are a hack. You are a sorry excuse for a private investigator. You are doing nothing but spreading false information and clogging up the tip line and putting out fake news that is hindering this case. And you and Katie and Chris, no wonder they hired you, because you're an idiot just like they are. I said it. In my opinion, you all three are idiots.
Amen. All right. Oh my goodness. Let's go back to stop screen for a sec. Let's go back to this part here. Let's watch a little bit of this again. Ugh. God, the guys have more.
That Chris and Katie were involved, I would be the first one.
Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't hesitate for a second.
Because
There's, you're actually actively communicating with him and saying, hey, I'm helping you out, versus, he's paying you or somebody is paying you. Like,
Right.
when did that switch happen?
Let me just pull up the retainer agreement so I can tell you exactly.
hi, Shirley.
Yeah, I guess the question would be when were you officially hired?
Yeah, I'm trying to find
Yeah.
so I can give you the exact answer. I'm trying to find the retainer
Sure.
agreement. It's I don't know. It'll take me 1 second here. Sebastian. It was here we go. Okay. It's 11/14 of 24.
Okay, so it was November of last year.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So that's the official date.
Couple months.
So who was paying you or is paying you?
Well, I don't want to disclose that, but I'm retained. I'll tell you that Chris and Katie are the signers on the engagement letter and retainer agreement, and but it's on behalf of. I'm working on behalf of Sebastian. I am not. My client is Sebastian, and they're the guardians that have the ability to sign. One thing I want to make clear is that I've never ever worked for a defense attorney or a prosecutor. I'm boots on the ground. I find people. I'm more search and rescue than anything. But when I work, if I was to find any real evidence that Chris and Katie were involved, I would be the first one. I mean, I wouldn't hesitate for a second to contact TBI or whoever it may be. I'm not there to play defense or anything. I'm there to find Sebastian, and if they have anything involvement, then I'll make sure they're held accountable. I don't know what happened to Sebastian. I wish I could say I'm on the verge of cracking this case. I do not know. I don't know where he is, and I don't know what happened to him. And anything is on.
Okay, exactly. So why are they wasting their money? Why are they wasting this money on this douche? $15K, $2,200 a day. And he's sitting there saying, hey, if I would be the first one to turn them in, if I felt like they had anything at all to do with it. Oops, shit, I forgot you guys were paying me $15K, $2,200 a day. What a thing to say, hey? Do you honestly think you would say something like that? But no, because his lips, they can't stop
Not
moving.
if I wanted to keep my job.
That's what I'd be saying. Now, if I wanted to keep my job, for sure. Shirley says that there's an Amber Alert in Memphis, Tennessee for a young 14-year-old Hispanic girl on there. I'll take a look at that in a minute on there. Hopefully she's found okay. Got to get back to my job, door dashing. But I'm listening. Okay, Kim. But yeah. So yeah, and then he's like, next thing out of his mouth is, if I know anything about where Sebastian is, like there's literally nothing. Like nothing. So why would they keep paying? Why would they keep paying someone? Because he says, according to Bullhorn Betty, well, what did that thing say actually? You're the one that had pulled it off. Where he said that she's saying that I got fired by the Proudfoots or whatever.
Yeah, he claims he didn't get fired by the Proudfoots, but honestly, I didn't read all of them. I just took screen. You didn't give me enough warning for me to actually read everything.
Let me take a look, see which one I did. Only because you sent me a lot of shit. So 1 second. Let me see if I can find it. He talks. There's so much useless shit that he has on his thing. Today Bullhorn Betty accidentally exposed the enhanced video fraud during her live stream. She revealed a 13-page folder containing images and backgrounds used for the. Oh no, that's a different one. Hold on, my bad. Too much shit. A lot of stuff that you sent me is like older stuff. So I'm just trying to go through. Bullhorn Betty
Yeah,
is
some of it I know is older. I just wanted to send you everything I could find as far as Sebastian was concerned.
Mm. Just trying to see. Anyways, I think he said something. Thought I seen it. Wasn't there one though that you sent me where it said that she said he was fired? I swear to God, you sent me one that said that.
Yeah, let me look in the file and see if I can find exactly what it said. Because I know I sent you that one because I remember looking at that one.
Yeah. I'll get you to take a look if you can or not. But anyways, we'll listen to a little bit more. Then that's all I can stomach of this guy.
On the table. So I'm not protecting them.
All right. So that definitely leads me into where I was about to go. I do just want to clarify one thing really quick, which was,
Sure.
you said Chris and Katie are the ones. So they are officially employing you. You're just not disclosing who is funding it. They signed the paperwork, is what I'm saying.
Yes, they signed the paperwork. I mean, I think, yeah, there's no like trickery there. I just don't want to get too deep into. But yeah, I mean,
I'm just trying to make sure that like we're putting out what you said in the most direct way possible.
I'm employed by them, but I consider myself working for Sebastian, and that's how my agreements are written. That I'm there working for the missing person, and this person's signing as either as their guardian or as their executor or whatever it may be, depending on their age. If they're since they don't have the ability to do it.
Right. So one thing, I mean, you may or may not be willing to answer this, but one thing that I've seen from you on social media, at least I've seen screenshots of tweets, and then I've gone and looked for a few of them to see if they're real. There's been some suggestions that you typically charge, I believe it was a $15,000 retainer fee and then $700 an hour. Is that correct?
The $15,000 minimum is correct. The $700 an hour is not great. So, everything I say gets taken seriously. So I get people, for instance, Bullhorn Betty. Yeah. she gets on and talks about how she follows me from case to case to case. So she gets on and talks about how, oh my God, how dare he charge family $2,000 and I'm like, listen, I don't charge. Don't put it out there that I charge $2,000 because then people are think I can be traveling around the country for a $2,000 retainer. I can't be doing that. I'm like, I'm much more expensive than that. And so sarcastically, like at one point, there was another guy giving me a hard time about this. And at one point I put in my bio, my rate, my hourly rate is $2 million per hour. Mm-hmm. And the guy took it literally and started sending it all around the internet. It's just, so some of the stuff is like, it's like, you can't deal with these people anymore. And it's like, yeah, so that ridiculous. I'll be that ridiculous. And so no, it's not. I will tell you my rates, my standard, rack rates are, probably average out. And I charge a daily rate. I'll just be honest with you. I don't do hourly. So I charge because it's more, search based. So when I'm working on a day rate. So I'm usually about $2,200 a day. And then there might be a quick, it depends if we're bringing it.
He's such a douche. I'm worth much more than that. He's the one that always puts out that shit. Like, and then he wonders why. He's such a douche. Okay, what does it say?
Okay, so I had to pull it back up. Let me see here. I don't know. Let's see. Do that. Window. That. Okay. So I shared it, I think. Okay, so is this if you want to read it or you want me to read it, I don't know.
Go ahead.
Okay, so let me pull it back up here. It says, I am aware that Bullhorn Betty is claiming that I have been fired from the Sebastian Rogers case. That claim is 100% false. I have not been fired and my role has not changed. I continue to work for Sebastian with the full authority of his primary residential parents, Katie and Chris. Additionally, I was never fired from blah, 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 blah. In fact, I have never been fired from any case. The number of cases I have been fired from is the same as the number of Bullhorn Betty has been hired for, 0. It is important to remember that Bullhorn Betty is a lifelong criminal, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, blah, 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 blah. So tell me, why do you think that, considering we had heard him on the Laura Lodge say that, you know what, like, he has no idea what happened to Sebastian, nothing at all. Why would they keep him around? Why?
To cause havoc and chaos and drama and yeah, that
You know, it feels like that way. Like Christopher Proudfoot, he probably loves SF's personality because they're just peas in a pod, the two of them. Loser 1, loser 2. That's right, SF. Loser 1, loser 2. He obviously watches this live because I didn't really care because I have a second Twitter account that's for my memes page, whatever. I only ever mentioned it once on here, and I ever only posted once, which was nothing that would say be against him at all. It was, I think there was a comment from somebody else. Other than that, the only time I said it once on here, about using my secondary account or whatever. And I probably said when it was, because it was only recently that account got blocked and you wouldn't have known. So that means douchebag watches this. So I hope today on this live, you hear me call you a douchebag and a loser and a narcissist and a piece of shit and everything at least 100 times. Because that's exactly what you are, SF. Just a useless piece of nothing, to be honest with you, that literally is causing more havoc to this case. And honestly, it's so mind-numbing to listen to somebody accuse all others of all this shit, and yet he's doing exactly to this case what he's trying to preach to others. Like, don't put false narratives out there, blah, 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 blah. I'm blocked by who? By SF Investigates? as if we truly care.
There was one post. I'm gonna stop sharing this one, and I'm gonna pull up this one and see if I can share it, because this is one that just really pisses me off with SF Investigates. So let me go down here and make sure you guys can read this. So we know it's from SF. Okay. So Sebastian Rogers, I am deeply sorry that your own father hired people to disparage you in this way. Bullshit. Seth has never hired anybody to make false claims or disparage Sebastian in any way. You were hired for that. Let's just get that straight right now. You don't deserve this. No one does, especially not from their own parent. Exactly. So where is your client at? Because your client is the one who can't say anything nice about her son. Your client is the one who is married to a man and lets him beat her child and get CPS reports. So, yeah, Sebastian did deserve better. Sebastian deserved Seth as a parent, not Katie. So let me just put that out there.
Yeah, I know.
It's heartbreaking to witness them tarnish your future or your legacy, whichever it may be. Exactly, SF Investigates, it is that Katie is doing that. I'm truly sorry for the actions of your father in hiring these people. No, I'm sorry that the Proudfoots hired you and your hack and your hack of a company, because you've done nothing but bring drama and fake news to this, right? Sebastian deserves better than you or Katie or Christopher Proudfoot, and I'll scream it from the rooftops, because that child, Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, deserves Seth, not any of you.
Right? Like I said, I mean, the guy's an embarrassment. He's an embarrassment to himself. You know what? He's an embarrassment, I'm sure, to his own mama, to be honest with you. He's, you know, I can't even go on and talk about him because, honestly, he's just a pathetic piece of trash. Like, he truly is. He adds no value to this case whatsoever. All he does is cause havoc, sit there and put the most ridiculous stuff up on Twitter, acts like he's a 2-year-old. You have a grown-ass man that literally is always insulting, doing shit to other people. He just really thinks he's the smartest person besides Christopher Proudfoot in the room. Like I said, the two are two peas in a pod. They both make me want to upchuck. And honestly, an embarrassment to Sebastian's case. They both are. Christopher Proudfoot, you know, like I said, he doesn't care about Sebastian at all. Proof is in the pudding. When you go on to people's lives and you care more about talking about yourself or calling in using a fake voice, Katie, you're an embarrassment as a mother. Honestly. Seth should have had Sebastian full time, not Katie. You know, Seth had talked about Katie, you know, from the get-go. The only person that truly seems to be telling the truth here, you know, as best as he can let us know, is Seth Rogers. And when he said that, you know, Katie, that he took care of Sebastian when they were younger, Katie was always wanting to be off working, you know, can't be asked. Then you listen to that second cousin talk and stuff like that.
Sorry, I
Going
couldn't stand to see that up there anymore. It just, it infuriates.
Patricia, you're throwing me off. Are you going to sleep? Are you sleeping now because you're tired of listening to us? Or are you going to sleep because you're tired? Either way, it doesn't matter. Asking for a friend. Yeah. I honestly. So, whoops. So, again, anyone seeing this video, it's legitly a nothing burger. Has no value. Nothing to do with Sebastian's disappearance. But of course, I wonder what true morons are going to still play off of this video. Like, seriously. You know, doesn't matter. Sometimes there's people out there for sure that you can put everything in front of them, tell them that the LE, and I'm sure that there's those people out there that are going to see like, oh, another video that LE is lying about. And run with it. On there.
Well, that's like the screenshot I sent you earlier of, you know, people saying, well, can DNA basically they Googled, okay, let's be honest. Can DNA be found in a dog's mouth? And then they got the AI version and they posted it. And then they're like, oh, Chris and Katie got rid of their dogs. No, you dumb fuck. They didn't. Because the dogs are barking in a couple of the interviews, you idiot.
I feel like we should have just called this our swearing dumbass SF Investigator live.
Yeah, you might want to.
I can't. When it comes to Christopher Proudfoot and SF, they're about the two biggest twats out there, you know, like in regards to Sebastian Rogers' case. Now that I think
And
about
I'm sorry, I try not to swear with this case, and I try not to swear on YouTube. But
yeah.
I'm just to the point today, I don't care.
I was going to say you're not showing any restraint tonight, and neither am I. 1 second here. Oh my God.
I just wish, you know, if SF was any kind of investigator, he would bring the focus on Sebastian and only Sebastian. He wouldn't be on YouTube going back and forth. He wouldn't be saying that certain things are being shared from Seth's side that A, are not being shared from Seth's side, and B, got him turned into the FBI for it. because it was linked back to him. So, it infuriates me that so many people are getting away from what this case is supposed to be about and doing the drama crap. This case is about Sebastian and finding Sebastian. And I only see 1 out of 3 parents keeping the focus on that, and that is Seth.
Just gonna quickly play this interview. It's from Hindsight 2002, I think it is. One of the ones that we don't see too often. It's a Fox and Friends one.
Search for a missing autistic teen gone for more than a month now. Growing more frantic. 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers has not been seen since he left his Tennessee bedroom barefoot with a flashlight. Joining us now, Sebastian's parents, Katie and Chris Proudfoot. Katie and Chris, thanks so much for joining the program this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us. So, Ms. Proudfoot, you put him to bed. You heard some noises in there. You told him to knock it off. You got up the next morning, and you haven't seen him since. Where do you think your son is right now?
Honestly, we don't know where he is. Up to now, we haven't found any substantial evidence to locate where he's been or where he went. That's why we're pleading for help for anyone out there that might know something or see something that could help us find him.
Ms. Proudfoot, was Sebastian a runner? Did he have a history of running away from school or running away from home anytime before?
No, he didn't have a history of running.
Mr. Proudfoot, you're about, I think, 3 hours away, and then you got the call about what happened, and you made your way home. You've agreed to a polygraph. You haven't been ruled as a suspect. What do you make of some of the criticism of some people online, some critics saying that they think that you're involved?
It's their personal opinion. It's sad that people have resorted to this kind of rhetoric and verbiage and harassment, but at the end of the day, it's their opinion. But the truth will come out, and then when it does, everybody will finally have their answers.
Ms. Proudfoot, did your son Sebastian have any friends that you think, did he have a cell phone? Had he made any type of contact?
Not that we know of.
Ms. Proudfoot, you did decide to leave the home and you went to go see your husband, which I said is about 3 hours away. And some people have said that, you have an autistic son who's missing. Why would you leave the home? Can you give us some insight on why?
There are a few reasons. We are posting flyers every direction we can, but at the same time, there were quite a bit of people that were, sending some very threatening and hateful messages to us. They're following us. They're driving past our house all hours of day and night, disturbing the neighborhood. And the neighborhood is very upset, concerned, and people are worried about their safety at this point. So one of the reasons that I did that is in the hopes that if we left for a couple of days, that it might calm that down and give our neighbors a little bit of reprieve as well.
A quick follow-up, Mrs. Proudfoot. His biological father has said that he doesn't believe that he would have been barefoot because of the traumatic experience that he had stepping in a pile of ants. But you think he left barefoot. Why are you so confident that he didn't have any shoes on or anything like that?
Because all of his
shoes have been accounted for.
See how he just literally overtalked her as she was answering?
He couldn't stand that he wasn't being able to answer any questions, so he had to jump in, and she is full of crap
on there. Yeah, it's a video that most people don't really, I think, remember too much like they do, but it's not really pushed around as much as the other ones, because it was one I remember when it came out, it was like people are talking about it. I'm like, where do I find it? But when I came across it again today on Hindsight 2002's thing, I was like, and just let's play that part again. Just as he just right over talks her.
Barefoot. Why are you so confident that he didn't have any shoes on or anything like that?
Because all of
All
his
of his shoes have been accounted for.
Yeah, just couldn't control himself, could he? Just couldn't control himself. Now, did he? Because I'm sure, like, let me see that again. I'm going to play it from here.
But you think he left barefoot? Why are you so confident that he didn't have any shoes on or anything? Because of the his biological father has said that he doesn't believe that he would have been barefoot because of the traumatic experience that he had stepping in a pile of ants. But you think he left barefoot? Why are you so confident that he didn't have any shoes on or anything like that?
because all of
All
his
of his shoes have been accounted for. As far as now, all of our shoes have been accounted for, mine and my wife's at this point. So, I mean, there is no other answer as to what he would have been wearing at this point.
Yeah. Thank y'all so much for joining us on the program. Now, our number one concern is to get Sebastian home back to y'all. We're going to put the number up for anyone that has any information on if you've seen Sebastian. Call 1-800-TBI. That's the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation.
Yeah. Just can't help himself. Just interrupt on there, can he?
No, he had to be the center of attention. And I swear, both of them, if their lips are moving, they're lying. They are so full of crap and the BS that shoots out of their mouths. Oh, it just infuriates me. I'm in a mood today. You'd think, Sonny, I'd be in a good mood, but
I know her. And then Kim there, Kim, get back to driving and buying the vibrators. Come on, quit eavesdropping.
Kim, I wasn't talking about you. No, I was talking about Miss Dumbass up here on the screen, not Sonny either, the other one.
You know, Lord help any case that SF Investigates is working on. And then I love how he makes it seem like Bullhorn Betty is just following him from case to case. That's hilarious. Let's see who was on Sebastian first. Bullhorn Betty or SF Investigates, who actually wasn't even paying attention to Sebastian's case because he was working on Riley Strain's case. Pretty sure it's you that's doing the stalking there, SF Investigates. But again, that's how narcissists talk, just like narcissist Christopher Proudfoot just can't help himself, right? Katie's talking, boom, instantly he answers the question. You weren't there, asshole. Hey, you weren't there. It was Katie that was there. Katie's the one. Actually, I mean, there's a lot. Okay, let's clear that up though, because a lot of people saying that it was Seth that noticed his Sebastian shoes that weren't on or that he didn't have any shoes. Now that's not true. It wasn't Seth that walked into the house and was like, "Oh, his shoes are there." Like, you might have noticed that, but I mean, that was said well into the dispatch audio that the mother said that, you know, all his shoes were there or whatever, and he didn't have any shoes on. So meaning that was said before. I just want to clear that up because a lot of people keep saying that, but it's just, you know what? It's just one of those things, like, keep it factual about that stuff. But it was not Seth that said that first. It was Katie who actually said that first about the shoes. Just dawned on me the other day when I was listening to it on the dispatch audio, and I was like, your thumbnail. Hi, Michelle. Yeah, go back to the dash and keep my mouth shut. That's funny. But yeah, I know. Again, this live was really it wasn't, it was a live that we just were like, YOLO, you know, SF is pissing us off. Let's do a live pretty much because the guy is just honestly, he's just creating more havoc for the case and whatever. Is it being done on purpose? Self-serving ego. I think honestly, it's a self-serving ego here. And, he's probably running it by Christopher Proudfoot, and he's such a douche himself that he's probably like, yeah. Do it. But, I think 2 + 2 on this one, that Sebastian made it all the way down to the end of Kellen not being seen by any of all the other cameras that are there before he even made it towards the end of Kellen. And he's like, I just want to know. Oops. My bad. This was supposed to drop next week, not just before. This is where somebody is writing off of the anniversary of Sebastian missing to point focus at themselves. Like in the news, SF investigates, someone that's being paid by the Proudfoots has uncovered or unearthed important information that could be breaking in the case. He's just doing it just to push his name out there. That's all he's doing it for, just to push his own narrative.
Yeah, I mean, it just, I'm just sick of the Proudfoot camp pushing out false information. This video and his response to it for me was the straw that broke the camel's back. And it's like, I'm no longer going to be silent. That's why when you're like, let's do it live, I'm like, I'm down. I got things to say, and I ain't scared to say them. What are you going to get me for? I have freedom of speech. I'm saying, in my opinion, you're a douchebag. It's not my fault that I think that. It's yours. I think Katie Proudfoot is the liar. Why do I think that? Well, I can back it up. I've dropped the document tonight. It's all in there why Chris and Katie are liars. I mean, and that's out of their own words. Stop. This is your son that is missing. Try to find him. Go out and do a search. Go out and plead for your son. But you are too busy jumping on YouTube lives because somebody talked about your truck. Well, here, I'll talk about your truck, Chris Proudfoot. Your truck pinged on geofencing. Either the 25th or the 26th, because it was a 24-hour thing that they did it. Right? So, that's a fact in the case. So, suck my wiener.
Did you just say suck my wiener? Is that what you just said?
I was gonna say suck my dick, but I was tired of cussing.
Well, now you're going to have people thinking that you're a he-she. Saying that.
If it's not big enough to choke him, I'll go buy one that is.
You're supposed to say, suck me where the good Lord split me. That would be the womanly thing to say.
I wouldn't want him that close to me. If he sucks my dick, at least I can throw it a mile away and make him go suck it. I blame him for the virus.
Kim, are you listening to this? I think somebody else needs a little toy while you're at Walgreens over there. What's another one? Parents full interview.
Oh, I'm sorry. I needed that laugh after being so mad today. But no, I mean, I'm just so sick of that side putting out false information. This is your son. You would think you'd want real information out there. Come on over, Ben. I'll show you.
Ben, is there something you want to tell us? I know, right? Kim says I have to stop at the red light so I get a chance to say y'all are interfering with my dashing and making it hard for me. Well, see, you can't even put the word hard in there because then her wiener's going to pop a sprout there. Missy. All right.
No, I don't even know what to say.
Amber Alert in Utah tonight. 1-year-old baby. Okay, let's see. Melissa, can you find the Tennessee 14-year-old, and I'll look for this Amber Alert in Utah. 1-year-old baby.
So a 14-year-old out of Tennessee. Do we know where at in Tennessee?
Memphis.
Okay.
Utah, 1-year-old. Let's see. Okay, Amber Alert. Here we go. Let's do that. Okay, stop screen. Amber Alert. What we got going on tonight? So an Amber Alert, 1-year-old in danger, suspect identified. Okay, so the search for an 18-month-old baby continues after her mother allegedly abducted and fled with her when the court order was issued. According to Salt Lake City Police, the suspect, Holly Angelina Smith, 32, unlawfully took her child after a court ordered her to relinquish her daughter to state custody, Josefina Jimenez, during a presser with the media. SLCPD told reporters that the court had issued the order citing environmental neglect and drug concerns. The order came after an investigation by Utah's Division of Child and Family Services, DCFS, and later informed the SLCPD on the order, which began the search for Smith and Jimenez. Police believe there is a serious risk to the child, and there's some pictures right here as well. Okay, we'll come back to that. At this time, Smith's whereabouts are unknown. The Salt Lake City Police believe that she is currently being assisted by family members to avoid law enforcement. She was allegedly seen being dropped off by a family member near 1300 and South and the Jordan River Trail. However, officially, her last known whereabouts were around 1801 South 900 West in Salt Lake City. Smith is described as being 5'4", weighing about 100 pounds, with blue eyes and brown hair, described as short and unkempt. Jimenez was last seen in a brown onesie and was described as white, 2 feet 6 inches, 23 pounds, with brown eyes and brown hair. Anyone with information and knowledge of the whereabouts is advised to call 911. Aww, such a sweet thing. So it says that the Amber Alert again was issued for the 1-year-old Josefina Jimenez in Salt Lake City, Glendale neighborhood. Okay, there's that one. Okay, thank you very much. Ben says, Melissa, her name
Yeah,
is
I got
Genesis.
it. It's backstage.
Oh, is it? Okay, let's do that one then too as well. Okay, so you're going to have to do the scrolling and reading on that one.
Okay, so I have to unmute here and go over here. Okay, so the TBI has issued an Amber Alert for 14-year-old Memphis girl abducted by an armed masked man. 14-year-old Genesis Rodriguez was kidnapped from the 3000 block of Nightway Road just before 9 p.m. on Friday. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation has issued an Amber Alert on behalf of the Memphis Police Department for a 14-year-old girl who has been abducted by an unknown armed man in a ski mask. WSMV's sister station, Action 5 News, said that 14-year-old Genesis Rodriguez was kidnapped from the 3000 block of Nightway Road just before 9 p.m. on Friday. Rodriguez was last seen wearing a black jacket, black boots, and a plaid skirt with a white shirt. TBI said that she is described as 5 foot 2 inches tall, 94 pounds, and has black and brown braided hair. Memphis police said her abductor, who was armed with a, was described as an unknown man wearing a black ski mask and a green camouflage jacket. Anyone with information regarding Rodriguez or her abductor is asked to contact the Memphis Police Department at 1-901-545-2677 or TBI at 1-800-TBI-FIND. And then there is the picture.
Yeah, I'll make that bigger again. Okay. Sweet little thing. So prayers in both of those cases, guys, of course. It's always, like I said, it's always hard. Like the one with the mother, in a sense, it's like, obviously, I mean, I can understand why she did what she did. If the courts basically are telling you to give up your child, to the courts basically on there, and, out of just what I'll call last second bad mistake, taken off with her child. That child will probably be found very shortly, and hopefully no harm comes to. Josefina Jimenez. This one right here is pretty scary since the girl was abducted by an armed and masked man. And her name is Genesis Rodriguez. Anyways.
Yeah, Sonny, something most people don't know about me is when I was 2 years old, I was removed from my biological mother's care and I was put into the foster care system. I was adopted at 5. When I was 3, my biological mother kidnapped me and my 2 brothers from Indiana, and she took us to Florida under the guise that we were going to get ice cream. And this is kind of a continued running joke in my family because every time I see my biological mother, I tell her she still owes me ice cream because we never got our ice cream. We just went to Florida, and I don't remember a whole lot about the experience. I remember saying, oh, well, there's a McDonald's. I want my ice cream. So, in a way, it's, if a mother is taking the child, you can hope that the mother's not going to harm that child, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to an unknown armed assailant. So, I mean, hopefully both of these cases have a positive resolution.
Yeah. For them. Yeah.
In that.
Yeah. Yeah. I know, like, I remember when my dad, had taken us, because my mom had left him as well, and he had taken us, and then he was driving us around for hours, because he didn't know where my Uncle Bob and Aunt Teresa lived, but he had come and he had pushed in the door. Like, my grandma opened up the door a little bit, even though we kept saying not to, because my mom was wanting to leave him, and so she gave us to our grandma. And then my dad anyways drove us around, and then he threatened to drive us over a cliff. He said, I'm gonna drive you all over a cliff if your mother doesn't come back to me, and stuff like that. And it's just shit like that, that your parents are supposed to be there to protect you and stuff like that. And then, like you said, then you remember crap like that in your head, and you're like, at the time you're scared, you're just a child, and I don't know, like, for me, like I said, from when I was younger, I was always very much aware of people's auras or feelings, and stuff like that. So I don't know exactly where, just it seems like embedded in me. Perhaps I don't know where it all stemmed from, but like most people do have a soft spot for children. But for me, it's like, it just crushes my heart to no end when children are involved in things. And especially, like I said, the one with the mother and the child, Josefina, that one's not as scary to me because she's with the mother, and the mother obviously panicked and didn't want her daughter taken away from her. And I doubt she's going to bring harm to her child, but you never know sometimes, right? Because a parent like my own, like, he didn't obviously drive us over the cliff, but, as a child, you don't know that. And this child is way too young to even understand anything. But hopefully it's not one of those cases, where sometimes they panic and then they take their life and the child's life and stuff like that. Whereas the 14-year-old, I mean, we're talking about something totally different situation, but still, it's children. The children's cases just really, truly bug me. No offense to like older people, but children are innocent. Children are innocent. There's a difference between an adult who knows what they're doing, in a sense, and the innocence of children. And to think that your protectors had anything to do with your disappearance or murder and stuff like that. To be honest with you, I think that one of the first things that enters my mind is about any pain and suffering a child is going through. Um, you know, kind of like the McCann case and stuff like that, when they were showing this place where that guy, the guy that I think is a suspect or whatever, and they were showing this shithole place with a bunch of videotapes found of all these children that had been molested and stuff like that. And it's just sickening to know that any child even has to deal with that stuff, that people are so sick and twisted that they would inflict pain on a child, you know? And like I said, there's tons of cases out there. Sebastian's, just his aura, his big smile, like, meaning there's just cases sometimes you just gravitate to. I could never, nor would I want to cover every single darn case out there. But that's why it's great to have a lot of people that cover different cases, But it's kind of like Suzanne Morphew's case. Looking at her picture, her face just lit up on screen. With Sebastian Rogers, his smile just lit up, as soon as I stared at him. Ben, I hope you start feeling better soon, and everybody that's not feeling well. I didn't realize Ben was sick until today and stuff like that. But bronchitis. Oh, you don't want bronchitis, right? Right, Melissa? Because then it turns into pneumonia.
Yeah, I've had that 3 times this winter. I'm over it.
Yeah. Are you better now from that?
For the most part, the antibiotics kicked it out. I've still got some residue stuff I'm trying to cough up out of my lungs, but
just trying to see if there's anything else. I don't think so. We went over that one. Oh,
so this interview that Katie did, that is supposedly going to drop, allegedly. It wouldn't be for, correct me if I'm wrong, but does this strike anybody else as weird? It wouldn't be for the 1-year anniversary, would it? Because why would you do an interview week or so before the 1-year anniversary for the 1-year anniversary? Wouldn't you do it that day?
No. That's very normal to do an interview prior to, and then it drops on the anniversary. Yeah, that's a very normal thing. Yeah.
Okay, well, it just struck me as kind of odd, but I mean, it might be.
No, that's normal, honestly. A lot of these preempted interviews, it doesn't strike me as odd at all, to be honest with you, because it's not odd. That's why. So, I mean, it will be interesting to watch. I mean, just because, yay, and I finally an interview by the mother after how many months? Like, literally, what, 7 months, 8 months? Since any of the other interviews or whatever. And Katie Proudfoot.
Yeah, the last interview I had in the thing for her was, I think, in May, late May.
Yeah, exactly. I remember I sent you this one, or myself this one on there. Let me just play this one quickly.
I'll let you start or whatever you want to do.
So,
right.
There's Tom too. Do me a favor. I got to drop out of this. I got to make a phone call real quick, and I will be back. This is my call. I don't care. I don't miss this phone call because it's my daughter.
No, you go
I will
ahead.
come
Go ahead.
back and hang tight. Give me about 5-10 minutes. I'll
Bullshit.
be right back.
You're fine. You're fine. We'll be here.
Is that
Yeah.
good?
You're still. Okay. Hold on.
Hello?
That's
Okay.
me.
When you're listening to this with ear pods in, you can hear it so much better because you can literally hear it when he says something like about Tom. 1 second. Let me go back to that.
And I noticed that when it played the first time.
Yeah, 1 second.
So there's Tom too. Do me a favor. I got to drop out of this. I got to make a phone call real quick, and I will be back. This is my call. I don't care. I don't miss this phone call because it's my daughter.
No, you go ahead.
Come back and hang tight. Give me about 5-10 minutes. I'll be right back.
You're fine. You're fine. We'll be here.
Is that good?
Yeah. You know, when I heard that first time, I was like, you liar. You're just trying to make it sound good.
Yeah, when that first played, and I had originally put it in the first document, and then I took it out, and I don't know if I left it when I created the Google Doc, but I said, he said he's taken a phone call from his daughter, but that sure sounded like a male's voice to me.
It sounded to me like a male voice too, to be honest with you. I think he did that twice actually. Where he's like, oh, I'm pretty sure there was 2 times where he said he was talking to his daughter. Kim says, every year on my son's death anniversary, I just want to be by myself. Sorry, Kim, just had a yawn there. I don't know why it's just been that way. You know, each to their own. Each to their own on how they deal with things. But sorry, back to this. Yeah, like it says, Tom 2, and it's just like, but like I said, you can hear it clear as day when you're listening to it with iPods in. And then it was like, and then he says, when he gets off, he's still talking. He doesn't realize it, and he says, "Was that good?" And then it sounds like a male voice, not a female voice, on this particular one. But it's just like, yeah, was that good? And it's you're just like, liar, liar. Yeah, big hugs there.
I
Kim.
almost wish that Smiley wouldn't have taken him off, and Katie would have just shut her mouth, and we could have heard it. I
know, right? I know. I was just like, when she did that, I was just like, no, let him keep talking. See what he says when he's, because he didn't know he was still playing.
Yeah.
But let's go back to one more thing, and then we'll head off. I want to go back to whatever her name was on Bill, Her, and Betty.
So while you're doing that, Kim, I am the same way when it comes to Nick. I'm that way on his birthday. I'm that way on the day that I got the call, and I am that way the day that he died. I want to be by myself. I don't want to talk to anybody. And I usually spend that day in grief.
Yeah. It's kind of almost like, like your own time type of thing. So I absolutely get that. It's kind of like when my mom, like her death there was February 15th and stuff like that. And, just one of those things is that I don't need to spend it by myself, but by the same token, it's just like my way of just kind of doing it my way. Like, I was just like this year. I just remember when you were in your funk a bit with your son there too. And it's just like, I don't know. It's just like I like my time just to think about my mom and miss her, and you know, not sitting there having a big sucky day too much. But I think there's a difference though between when you lose a parent to when you lose a child. In a sense, I think that that's kind of two different feelings, right? Like your parents, you expect them to die before you do, even if it's too young still. But that's kind of the expectation. You never expect your children that you gave birth um, to lose them. So I think it would be harder if it was a child versus, say, my mom's death. Now, not to take away from my mom, but she was 67, died of cancer. Typical thing that a lot of people die of. I think that I hate to say it this way, but I feel like if it was my child, that day would be so much worse than my mom dying of something like cancer. Like if my mom was murdered or something like that, that would probably be different. But she died of cancer. But I think losing a child has to sound, to me, it just seems so devastating because this is, I'm trying not to say it without offending anybody because I'm not trying to. Just my feeling would be I would probably be having a lot rougher day if it was a child of mine, for sure. Versus not natural causes, but Do you think do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to, when my grandparents died or when my mom died, she died of cancer like your mom did. They're hard, but
Right.
when it's my son, it's just it's it's
Yeah.
unbearable, but it's something that, I spend that day and I remember him, and sometimes, yes, it puts me in a funk, but it's just I always dedicated my kids' birthdays to them. And so, now Nick has his birthday and he has his death day. And
Right.
generally, I'm in a funk on the day that I got the call, just
Yeah.
because I couldn't help but remember it.
Yeah. When you hear some of these stories, like your own, Peggy said she lost two sons, right? Miss Kim, she lost hers on January 20th, 2020. Just like I said, haven't had to experience that type of pain, thank God. But by the same token, it's like, sorry for your heartache and pain. I know you can't rewind time, but just would never want to be in those shoes myself.
It's definitely something I wouldn't wish on anybody.
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Anyways, yeah, it just breaks my heart, when people, like I said, parents have to suffer that type of pain and you didn't know. In say Kim's case, because that's obviously a self-harm case there. And, you know, nothing that somebody could have done when somebody's doing like in their own brain and you don't know exactly what kind of say thoughts they're having. Your case is, Peggy's, I'm not really sure what happened in Peggy's two cases there with her sons. If it was at one time, I think it was separate. But yours was like your son was murdered. Um, just it's very heartbreaking. It's humbled me, you know. Yeah, you know. And I guess it depends too on your take of if you believe you'll see your child up in heaven or not. Again, it depends on your beliefs in your religion section, I suppose. I already know it's there, so I don't have to worry about that. Yeah. Do you believe in the afterlife?
Do I believe in afterlife? Yes. I do. But I think for me, one of the things that I guess I want to say started my healing process, or at least gave me some comfort, is so I have DVR on my TV. And because I hate commercials and I fast forward through them. And so I just record shows that I want to watch, and then I go back and watch them later after they've ended so I can fast forward through it. So I was recording, I don't know if anybody in here watches it, but Chicago Fire, Chicago PD, and Chicago Med. And I was fast forwarding through it, and then I had stopped because I had to go get a drink, and I come back, and it was, I don't know, a couple months or so after Nick died. I don't know exactly how long it was, but I come back and I seen "Hi Mom" on my TV screen. It was a black screen, "Hi Mom" in big capital letters. And so I was like, I am not seeing what I think I'm seeing. So I rewound it. Like, I'm like, there's no way that this is what I'm seeing. And I rewound it and played the commercials. And sure enough, it was there. And it almost gave me the sense of that he was okay.
Right.
And so that kind of started for me the healing process of that, as far as that went. But it is not something, and I have always turned to writing. And so I wrote Nick a poem after he passed away. And that gave me comfort. So, I mean, there were little things that I did, and I still do, that give me comfort.
Yeah, absolutely. I used to always watch John Edwards. I think it was called Afterlife or something like that. John Edwards. I used to watch that when my grandma had died. It just was a show that gave me comfort in the afterlife. You know how there's certain psychics out there that, I really believe have definitely the qualities for sure. And then there's just, other people out there that don't have anything and stuff like that. Let's see here. Just quickly. Carol Love Embroidering Crime Show says, I don't celebrate New Year's because it's my daughter's birthday. She was 25 this year. 1100. Her date of birth. Aww. Hi, Carol's. Biggest hugs to you there on that. And so again, so sorry for everyone that has had to deal with that, a death of their child. Gratefully, I have 3 daughters that lost their brother, so I've had to be there for them, and I think it helped a lot. But I'll always, of course, I was gonna say I have 1 child, and so, bringing this kind of back around to Seth Rogers here, and Katie, right? They got 1 child. And more I'm talking about Seth, even though I know it's Seth and Katie's child. Sebastian is their only child. I have my one child who's 28, right? I'm not going to talk too much about him because most people that watch this channel know how much my son has meant to me, and he's basically treated me like crap since our divorce back in 2015. I think it was 2013, 50, whatever. Whenever I was divorced, somewhere around there. After you get older, you start not remembering as much. But anyways, the thought of losing one child, and no offense, but this kind of happened in the Adelphi case. Anna Williams had one daughter. Obviously on the other side, there's quite a few children that Carrie had. And you have them to still love and lean on or whichever, But to have one child and then that child be gone, knowing there's no more children, is words beyond repair, So not to take away, but you guys get what I'm saying, obviously. It's like my twin sister has 4 children. I just have one. Something were to ever happen to my son. I think who always keeps saying it in chat, that they would need to be sedated, because that's pretty much me. And when I put myself in the shoes of Seth, I think about if that was to happen to my only child, if I was to be in his shoes, facing what he's having to face. And of course, I'm going to go more towards him because he actually is acting like a father that loves and misses their child. And I just, like I said, I would be crying all the time. You could not stop my tears, because for me, I know how much my child means to me. So to ever feel what Seth is going through, and Katie, if she had nothing to do with Sebastian's disappearance, but as a mother, as someone that can really, I guess, relate to Seth's actions and how he tears up and cries, I would literally be bawling every single time. If I can bawl 10 years after my dog died, but just knowing that I would be absolutely in pure hell and torture in my heart if something like that were to have happened to me, or like adding the fact that he doesn't know if Sebastian is alive or dead. Imagine that torture upon your heart every single day that you wake up. It's cruel. It's beyond words. So for people that really want to fuck with this case, you are the biggest pieces of shit ever that want to take away, from this case in general, that want to make a joke of it, that want to leech off of it because they're losers, and their content pocketbook money rides off of their thumbnails and their bullshit. That I find that so ignorant and disrespectful to cases in general, when people want to ride off of them for self-serving purposes. It's offensive. It's disgusting. Like, I don't care that somebody earns money. YouTube pays for ads, YouTube, whatever. People want to drop a super stuff and whatever. But I'm just saying, for the creators that literally make a mockery of cases, and do things for self-serving purposes, that's what I find disgusting. We're talking about an actual child here. It's not a joke. It's not a game. If you actually care about cases, you'll do it, and you'll do it with integrity. And that's why someone like SF investigates. He clearly is a disgusting, human, despicable piece of shit, who just wants to make a mockery for his own egotistical and his own self-serving purposes. You know, he might think and claim that he's all about children and stuff like that. Nah, dude, your arrogant, narcissistic personality far outshines the fact that you care. You know, why did you feel the need to tell us how much you got paid? Nobody actually asked you about $15,000 retainer, you know, but why did he even need to put that out there at all? I mean, sure, there was asked about like, oh, so I heard you got 700, but again, most people, you know, be humble pie and be like, you know, sorry, I'm not going to talk about that. But no, not him. You know, oh, I'm worth so much more than that. And someone said $700 per, you know, hour and stuff like that, and it's like that's exactly a Christopher Proudfoot. He cared so much about the money aspect of this case, not Sebastian. He cared so much about the GoFundMe.
So, Sonny, I sent you a picture that I took of my TV screen and the poem that I wrote in our chat. But Peggy says, I still have 2 daughters. They're healthy, wealthy, and wise, and altogether they've given me 13 grandchildren. Oh, my Lord. And 1 great-grandchild. No, that is too... No, I don't know that I could handle that many children. I went gray with 2. And, you know, Peggy, you said that, you know, you've got grandchildren. And, you know, when Nick died, I thought I had lost that. And then his ex, who became kind of my daughter in the process, had a baby. And we lost that baby a couple months after he was born. So, yeah, grandchildren can heal your heart.
Right, Peggy. 1 second here. Okay. So
if you're wanting me to read that, I cannot without crying. So you'll have to do it.
I'll read it. It says, my boy, I miss you more than words can say, but I know we will be together again someday. I love you, my baby boy. You always brought me so much joy. I can't stop this heartache. It's almost more than I can take. I have cried so many tears that no one ever hears. I have prayed so many prayers. I have yelled so many swears. I would give anything to have you back. Instead, I have your name on a plaque. I just hope someday I will be okay. Oh my God, you almost got me freaking tearing up on this too. You know, that's a nice poem. That's sad. I get it. Sometimes we come across something that means a lot, you know, when we read it. That one's kind of like one of those simple poems, but very, you know, just says the words that are in your heart, how you're feeling. Why can't this guy say what he charges? What's Travis going on about again? Why can't this guy say what he charges?
He can't say what he charges because then everybody's going to know.
Like, but why would you need to say that though? Like, why? That's not like when somebody tells you what your paycheck is. Same idea. What? Do you not feel like Travis always argues with us? I think he was put into the chat.
I know, right?
Just to say that the sky is black instead of blue. And he's going to say, well, that's at night. And I'm going to say, like, yeah, at night intelligence. Yeah.
But I mean, first of all, what does it matter what he charges, really? Because, you know, in the grand scheme of things, he's a private investigator who investigates missing people or investigates suspicious deaths or whatever, right? So we know he makes money off of grief. So what he charges doesn't matter. If he makes a penny off of that grief, okay, so we know that. It doesn't To me, it doesn't matter what he charges.
Who gives a shit? He's a narcissist. I mean, like I said, like, what was the point in saying it? Why? What does it do for Sebastian's case saying how much he charged? He's a narcissist. You know it, Travis. He's a narcissist. Narcissist. You guys don't forget about this document here. Travis, did you go look at this document yesterday? The one with all the information in it? Well, at least 95% at least in there. The Google documents. That's where this is out of. So you guys don't forget, if you haven't checked out this document that Melissa made, you
Sonny,
can find.
You just shared the wrong link. Can you delete that, please? That's the edit link.
Same link I've been
That's so they
sharing
can
the whole
edit it.
freaking week.
Oh, Jesus, that's the edit link. Let me go click on it and see what it does.
Oh, maybe. I don't think somebody can edit it regardless, actually.
Can somebody go to that link that she just dropped and see if you can edit it? Because I know when I go to it, I'll be able to because I created.
It's the one actually I've been dropping all week. Did I hide it? I think I hid it. It's one I've been dropping all week.
Let me go click on it and see what it does. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, it lets me edit it, so somebody else will have to go to it and see if it will let them or not.
Well, I mean, I hid the link, but that's the one that I've been sharing the whole time because that's the one. This wasn't like the edit one. Like, this is the one, like it wasn't the edit one. I know that. But I think I hit it.
Yeah, because it says, notice the difference in your link and mine. Mine says sharing and yours says edit. I don't care as long as nobody can edit it if it says edit. I just want to make sure nobody can edit it because that was a lot of work.
Yeah. You've only shared it with me, so I'm pretty sure you can't. Yeah, but Travis, those ones only come in when there's actually some movement. Same with the news. They only come in when there's actually some movement in the case. They come in for their 5 minutes or 1 hour thing, and then they're off on other stories until some more information hits up and stuff like that. Same with Nick Barras, right? I don't really blame them, though, because, they cover tons of cases all the time. And if it wasn't for the creators keeping Sebastian's story out there, it definitely would have dwindled a ton more, I mean, sadly, that includes the bottom leechers of the case, but is what it is.
Well, I mean, even if people like the hack SF there shares false information, I guess the silver lining of that is it renews interest in the case and it keeps people keeping Sebastian's face and name out there.
Right. I mean, people love gossip. Gossip sells. Fighting sells. Drama sells. Right? So, yes, if you want to keep something out there, you just gotta, that crap is honestly a big reason why cases do stay in the forefront, because the minute people start talking smack shit and making up shit and causing drama, then the other channels that are like that will be on there talking about Sebastian and like, for instance, I mean, this whole video of SFs that he gave off to WSM before there, right? Again, people that sometimes don't cover the case, but everyone pretty much picks up doing a live stream about it instantly. The regular ones that maybe didn't do it, but all of a sudden they seen this drop and now they're like, type of thing. So it's one of those things. I hate to give anything like those channels credit, but I mean, it does help keep Sebastian's case out there regardless, even if it's just to start following the case, or knowing. Unfortunately, there's a high reward out there. The reason why nobody's going to collect that reward is because Sebastian never left his home. That reward's never going to get collected. Nope. So that's like a useless reward out there, to be honest with you. Do you kind of think that?
Yes and no. Yes, to the point of, I think if the reward was going to do something, it would have done by now. So in a way, yes, it's a useless reward, but no, because maybe once Sebastian is found, somebody with information won't be as scared to come forward and say what they know.
Huh. That's like so backwards saying that. Like, so if somebody knew anything with Sebastian, that reward would have been collected by now. And
I mean, I would have thought so too, but maybe they're scared of the backlash, or maybe, I'm just trying to think of this from all sides. Maybe once Sebastian is found, they'll be like, okay, he's found, so now maybe they'll believe me. I don't know. I'm torn, I guess, really.
The only person that would find him, I guess, is the person that probably either A, has him, or that the parents or a parent took his life. So I don't think it's I just can't see it being like, oh, well, you know what? Now that they found me out, I might as well just tell the truth, collect some sort of reward. That's what I'm hearing.
No, I'm not saying no. Okay, so let me put it in a hypothetical here. So say somebody close to the Proudfoots knows something or has heard something, right? And they're like, they're not going to believe me. This may not be anything. I'm just going to keep my mouth shut. And then say we find Sebastian and they're like, oh shit, what they said was true. Now I need to come forward and tell them because it turned out what they said was true, type deal. Not, does that make more sense? Like my head is thinking.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I just think that that reward money is never going to get collected, or else it would have by now. Because that's a lot of money. People are greedy in life typically, but sometimes you can't buy people, especially if they're part of it. But who knows? I mean, it's the thing about this all is that usually when there's more than one person involved, most times it's unlikely that the silence can keep going, but it still can happen. But it's usually unlikely because somebody has information and they'll throw it into the tip line or whatever, or secretly talk and say something about that they have knowledge where Sebastian is, and let's say it comes to fruition, at the end of the day. But typically, like I said, somebody would have taken this money by now because people are typically greedy. But for those people that can't get bought, so let's say they're doing Katie a solid, they think that they're doing the best thing in the best interest of Sebastian, and they're the only other person that knows about it and nobody else does. and they're the only other person. So, there's that person that, like I said, people do strange shit all the time. People think they're doing the right thing all the time, and yet their brains are really fucking twisted. Not the normal things. It's more likely when you look at it that way to think that Sebastian's not here with us for that said reason. But I'm still hoping and praying that he is, just because I'd just rather think that way than not. I'm hoping that some part of, not even the Bauer socks as much. Okay, let me ask you. If you had to pick whose side, right? I think we talked about this yesterday, especially after listening to yesterday's Yada. Do you think that the only window that you can make sense of is Katie's vehicle leaving for anything, because we can't make sense out of anything else? No video footage of Sebastian leaving, no dog scent leaving. And then when she says, like, there was that Ken Widener video where it was like the dog stopped at the garage type of thing. I remember it being said that, I remember in one of the, whether it was the dog interviews, I just remember it being said that the dogs couldn't get past basically the driveway. That I do remember. It's like there was nothing leading the dogs from off that property.
Yeah. And I remember hearing that, and it's like, again, that's where I go back to, he had to be in a vehicle for that to happen.
Right. So the only vehicle that we know of that left that area was Katie's. From a garage.
Exactly.
Where the vehicle was. So if you were looking at the whole thing, is your main thing, like your main conclusion, that the only thing that makes sense is Sebastian went out that garage in Katie's car?
Yeah, that's the only thing right now that makes sense in my head. Given what we know, that's, kind of where I keep coming back to.
You know what was strange? So every now and again, I'll humor myself and watch these tarot people. This one's MMO Tarot. I want to get to the part, but let me see. But I don't see transcript on here. Like, it's not showing transcript.
Oh, not to the benefit of me.
I've noticed a couple videos like that, and I can just assume that they turned them off.
Let me see here for a second.
I
Got volume up. Hope floats. Where's the volume? It's on.
No.
Okay, wait.
I'm not sure. I believe that. No.
1 second.
No. See, the second one's a yes. Let me do that.
Let me see if I can get to the part that kind of just threw me off a bit. So basically, this lady's been gone for quite a long time.
Do it again because I'm not grounded. I took too much
or
time
something
off.
like that, and
I think the best live I did when I did the FBI recap,
something about her
was when I just
job.
went right into readings, and no offense, but I just ignored the chat because it's hard to channel and do both.
One
so
second.
This is yes. So she's got knowledge, or she's involved. Is she involved?
Now let's just watch this for a minute. Let's just chill back and watch this lady for a second.
I think
she's
got
talking
knowledge,
about Sebastian's
sure.
case.
She's got knowledge for sure. Where's my?
If you're not into it,
let's do it
don't
again.
watch it. But there was a
I'm
very
gonna have to
interesting
reconnect
part
because
that I was like,
yeah,
sometimes that catches
yes,
me.
yes. Let's find out. What is Katie's friend? I'm gonna go to this.
Corruption. Manipulation.
So she's got knowledge of something going on.
Gaslighting.
I don't believe she's involved though. I think that she's got knowledge.
I want to get to the park. Come on, lady.
Oh, plus my ADHD. I feel like I didn't,
Sure.
and I meant to, and I didn't. Okay, they fell on the ground, right side up rather, but I gotta start over. Okay, the video that looks like someone carrying. Is there a video of Sebastian being carried in the night? Yes or no? No. Oh yeah, the box was a no. Was the box forgotten or placed as a distraction?
I want to get past that shit.
I think the box was a no. I think it came up no. I think there's something to that box. I thought I did the box.
Yeah, what about the box?
Alive when he's not. Power. The box is about power. This hidden was Sebastian. I'm trying to get clarifier on this. Is this hidden murder or not murder? Power. Struggle.
Could be exactly that, Peggy.
So accidental death. There's your answer. Not alive. Sebastian is not alive. Not alive. And the next one out, child. Unalive. Hidden murder.
There you go, Melissa. Case solved.
So it was left not by mistake. I don't know what happened. Is Seb under the neighbor's shed or a cement slab? Okay.
Yeah, what this like said, let's just watch it for a minute.
Who's coming in?
You up for it?
Feel someone's coming in. Let me just connect for a second.
Yes. She froze or meditating? I think she's like redirecting.
I think she's trying to channel.
I do feel like Sebastian might be here, but back of my neck is starting to hurt a bit, but I don't get any talking. Let's see, because I have channeled him before. Comes in very unusually for me. Comes in right in the back of my head. Like, oh, my hair's too long. Like right back in here, and it just hurts normally. And I got a bit of a pain there right now. Sebastian, do you want to talk? Knave of Swords, I don't even know what I'm doing because I'm too distracted. Sebastian, do you want to talk?
Hi, Ben. Yes, talk to us, Sebastian.
No.
Tell us where you are.
I'm pretty sure the Sebastian's here, guys. With the high water jerky was his body washed down to the Cumberland. Sorry, I'm having a hard time focusing. Sebastian, do you want to come in?
Sebastian, are you there?
Definitely here. Definitely here. It's okay, you can watch Sebastian. He's definitely here. Because it's the first time I've channeled hundreds of times mediumship, and I never get the pain in the back of my head like I do when Sebastian comes in. High waters of levels at Drake's Creek was his body washed down to Cumberland. Sebastian's here. Back down Cumberland.
I feel like he's here.
Body levels at Drake's was his body washed down the Cumberland. Sorry, I just heard. Hello, Miss Leanne.
One sec.
Ooh, Sebastian's energy's coming in strong, guys. No. No. I don't think he was in Drake's rig forever. Okay. Because if you're going to come in, honey, can you come in now and talk to me?
Talk to me. Where's that one? I want to see that card. Is it this
And
one?
there's like, you name it. There's the fact that this is heart connection. Will there be justice for Sebastian?
Where's that one?
Heart connection, compassion. Will there be justice for Sebastian? Perseverance. It's like I'm getting one lone wolf persevering here. One lone wolf persevering because of this connection and compassion for wanting justice. That's what I'm picking up. Let me get some other decks to clarify. Will there be justice? I got goosebumps. Will there be justice for Sebastian?
I mean, I believe she believes that she's a good reader.
At this point in time, we have temperance. The world is an end of something. Temperance is trying to like reevaluate things, reevaluate the evidence. Like somebody maybe that is a new investigation team because that's the end of something and some sort of a new creative outlook, way to handle it, new creative outlook. Two of Cups in reverse. Okay, let me get some clarifiers. Is this a new entity coming in? Look at the case. Four of Swords. Somebody's not resting. Somebody is not resting. I'm getting this one lone wolf looking at these two. Looking at these two. Give me some more, please.
She didn't like that.
Will another government agency take over? The Hermit. Somebody is not, that's two in a row that are not resting. Not resting. There's, I'm going to say it again. I know I've said it before, but I really feel like there's one lone person that's still interested in getting to the truth.
Yeah, Seth?
Okay, this fell on the floor. No. No. Wrong way. Do not enter. No. One lone person. Give me more. Deserted. Mirage.
Ah, come on, get to the one
Give
I
me
want
more.
to see. Hold
The
on.
tears channeled them one day when you guys were.
She's still doing it?
And I'm getting King of Swords. Chris said no. No, no. Chris said no. That's what I'm getting. Are they going to find him soon? Ren. You guys want
that? Damn it.
No.
She doesn't have the transcript, or I'd pull it up. Let's see. Maybe I could be far past it. Hold on. Come on. Let's get there. It's hurting.
So I have dealt with psychics, like when
true or not.
Okay.
Like when Nick died. And there are two that I talked to, and they knew things that there was no possible way for them to know about his life, about me, about where I was in my home, about what was next to me.
You're not talking about online though, right?
They do have YouTube channels, but no, we were not online. One of them did a reading online though, with a friend and I, and she actually ended up channeling her brother who died a couple weeks before Nick did by self-deletion. But like, they back up what they're saying. And can back up what they're saying. Like the things that they were saying were not like Googleable, things. So there are some people, but a lot of these people that I have seen with Sebastian are plain and simple just making content using his name to get views, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, my thing is this, is that, like, this lady, I didn't actually mind her. I'm always looking like this lady, like a lot of the cards that were coming up, like when I was trying to find, was the one where it said, shoot, I'm trying to think of the exact word it said on the card. It had con man beside it, and it had, oh, I know what it had. It had something like grandparents, right? So after coming off of yesterday's live with Yada and that, it was basically like he was hidden by grandparents, type of thing, right? And also like for sale came up for the house. So a lot of cards were coming up, and I know that they can gear it whichever way they want to. And I take it all with a grain of salt, knowing full well, Melissa, that I have had a reading back when I was 26, by a medium. And again, I'm very, got my eye up, you know. But the first thing she said to me is, don't tell me anything. I don't even want to know your birth date or anything like that. Because a lot of people feed off of the birth dates and your
Yes.
zodiac sign. A true medium shouldn't ask you that at all. If they're a true like to me,
And
if they're
that's
a true medium.
the two that I had talked to were the same. They were, don't tell me anything about why you're here. Don't tell me anything about you. I'm going to ask yes and no questions. If it resonates, it resonates. If it doesn't, it doesn't, but don't try to make it fit. But they were adamant about, don't tell me anything about you or why you're here or who you're here for.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what, a true medium, in my opinion, does. And obviously, because that's what they did for you too.
Well, you're looking for that information that nobody else would know, and that it's not a generalized statement that you can equate to it because you're obviously sad and stuff like that. So, for instance, me and my friend Margarita went to this lady because of somebody at work. Now, again, and she was, I think, like she was Spanish. I'm not sure if she was from Mexico or not, but she was definitely a Spanish lady. I remember that. And so at that time in my life, this is when I decided I was going to leave Dion, which was my abusive 11-year relationship. I was 26, and I was, like I said, I was going to be leaving to come back home here. And Leanne happened to tell us about the psychic lady that she had gone and seen. And so me and Margarita decided to go see her together. And she was very specific. So for instance, just to give you a little premises on this one. So I was in an abusive relationship with Dion. About a year or so prior to that, I was working in cosmetics in Eaton's department store. This baseball team from the Sarasota Red Sox or whatever it was had come into town. This one guy came into my area. He was very flirtatious. And it was at that moment, so he was asking me to come watch his baseball games at the stadium. And I said, oh, well, can I have tickets for me and my husband? Because I was married for 2 years out of the 11 years to him. The last 2 years, of course. But anyways, the whole time he was literally flirting with me from the bench, to the point that Dion put his arm around me as if to say, she's mine. He literally sat there during this game and just literally stared at me all the time. And then when the game was over, He gave me a bat with a signature and a ball, and he was very interested in me. I'll just say this. And it was the first time that I realized in a long time that there's other people out there, and yet I'm living in this abusive relationship. Other people that would whatever want me. Anyways, during this reading, so he was flirtatious, and he ended up, moving on, like whatever. About a year after that, when I had told Dion that I was going back home, I ended up staying for about another month after that, because I didn't want him to be left like without paying rent. And you know what I mean? Like, I didn't want to leave him in a bind type of thing. So I was trying to do the right thing, like I'm always trying to do, putting other people before myself. But anyways, during that particular month, I remember making a phone call. Back then, it wasn't internet like we have now. Making a phone call, and I was like, "Hey, Victor, I said, this is Sunny from, da 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 da. Do you remember me?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, da 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 da." So in my head, I had it like he was trying to get me to come to Sarasota, and of course I was like, of course, admiring his flirtatious and stuff like that. And so he lived, like I said, in Florida. And so when I went to this reader, so it never went further than that, you guys, because I just realized he was a piece of shit, like other guys at the time. Anyways, we're not stupid, right? But anyways, so when I went to this card reader, she had no clue. The only person that even knew about this was Margarita. I was the only person. And so it's not like Margarita knew this lady, this reader. So anyways, during this, and this is what I'm talking about when I say it's not generalized, she literally pulls out a map and she plants it on her desk. And she goes, "I don't know why, but I see you going down one of two roads." She goes, "Either you're going to," she goes, "for some reason," she goes, "I keep seeing Florida." And she points right to it. And then she, and she, whatever else she says. And she says, "Or the second road is that you meet this guy with brown hair, and in about 6 months, you're going to be pregnant." And I'm like, not going to happen. Anyway, she said more than that. So what happened was, I was just in shock that because she could not have known about Florida. And she literally pulls out a map right in front of me and says Florida. And like, do you know what I mean? That's like a 1 in a billion chance, a million chance to sit there and even do that. It ended up being that I realized he was a lying asshole. Regardless, he was just a typical, cheater. Now the psychic, that same psychic, had told me that he was interested still in his ex-wife that he was married to for 10 years. And she said a bunch of stuff about that. So I ended up calling Victor and asking him, I said, "Look, this is what she told me about you. Is any of this true?" And he's like, "Yes, all of it." And then he went on to say that, yes, he still has feelings for his ex-wife, and she lives in Puerto Rico and blah, 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 and I was like, "Oh, okay, thank you." I ended up going to my twin sister's house in Clearbrook here in BC. And I ended up talking on her chat line because she would ask me to check her mailbox for this party line called Chatline, Vancouver Chatline. Anyways, I ended up meeting my second husband, not my Steve Austin, but the ex-husband Steve that I was married to, that I have my child with for 17 years. Okay. I ended up meeting him. And then within 6 months, I was pregnant. And that part was hindsight. But for her to know those specifics and I think that's probably what you're talking about, is that it wasn't just something that anyone would know. These are clear-cut identifiers that There's no way she could have just guessed Florida. There's no way she could have said other things and about Victor. And that I ask him, and then he says it's all right. And I'm like, shit, this lady's good. And then when she got to Margarita, she literally actually used her ex-husband's name, Mike. And again, this is stuff that we talked about, but she didn't. Is that what you're meaning? Like that type of thing?
Okay. So I have a video on my YouTube channel of a second reading with with one of the people, right? But the first reading that she did, she told me, and hold on a minute, let me get, pardon the way I look, y'all. It was a rough night. I didn't get to bed until after 8 a.m. Okay.
Mm-hmm. You're
okay.
showing your fug mug?
So, I am showing my fug mug. So, this lady, she's like, she didn't know anything about Nick, and she told me, she said, somebody's coming in for you. It's a younger guy. I'm like, okay. And she said, he didn't die of natural causes. And I'm like, okay. And she's like, I feel like his name starts with an N. And she's like, Nick, but you didn't call him Nicholas. And I'm like, okay. So I'm like, okay, that's all Googleable. Okay. Give me something that's not. And that's what I was thinking in my head. And she said, and she was like, don't give me any identifying information. And it's called feeding the medium. You don't want to feed the medium. She's like, okay. She said, you've got something hanging above your head. And I said, yes. And she said, he made it. I said, yes. She said, he wants you to know he sees you. I said, okay. And this was hanging above my head. And this is a painting that Nick did the year before he died, I think it was. No, I'm not going to show that for longer than that because of what's depicted on it, because my son was an asshole. And he called me an asshole. I can call him an asshole. Anyway, the tree didn't look like a tree. The bird and clouds didn't look like birds and clouds. Okay?
Gotcha.
There is no way, because there were only 3 people who knew about this. Me, Nick, and the person he was with when it was done. And I'm like, there is no way that this crazy lady knows anything about this. And so she goes on to say, she said, there's something beside you. And I'm like, uh-huh. She's like, it's his Bible. No way could she have known Nick's Bible was sitting beside me. There was 0 way this woman could have known that. Nobody knew that. I was alone in my house. And she just said, he wants you to know he's okay. And it's like, all right. So go on. And a couple months later, a friend of mine and I were together at New Year's. And now Nick died in November. And so New Year's came around and I wasn't in the mood to go out at all. She's like, no, go out with me. Go out with me. I said, I'm not going out. And she said, well, at least come over to the house. And I said, okay. So I went over to her house and we're sitting there in our New Year's garb partying by ourselves because neither one of us felt like going out. And that's when the one that's on my YouTube was taken. And she channels not only Nick again, which at this point, she knew a little bit more. I was glad to hear it. She said a few things that she hadn't said the first time. Again, no way she would have known. But she channels my friend's brother. And there is no way she could have known about that at all. So do I believe in them? Yes. If you're not feeding the medium, if you're not, because a lot of times people say, they go by off, the look on your face and whether or not they can see some recognition or whatever. But there are some out there, and I won't plug their channel here. I might do a video later on. But
It's fine.
There are a few that are legit, that I consider legit. And I also know that my religion tells me not to seek out mediums, not to seek out psychics or future tellers. And I didn't seek these people out. The one that I know, I was on her TikToks a lot, and she would constantly do TikTok lives, and I'd go in there. I'm like, yeah, whatever, just for fun and entertainment. And when she started talking, and she's like, this person died young, and I'm like, yeah, what do you consider young, And she's like, this person didn't die of natural causes, and this person died yada yada yada, and I'm like, okay. And then she said, and I feel like I'm being drawn, and she said my TikTok name, and I'm like, looking around my house, I was stunned. I was like, what? Because she had described not only Nick to a T, but the way Nick died to a T. And so I went up there and I let her do the reading, and man, she was on point. And I've never seen her not be on point.
Is she young? Brown hair?
They're both young.
No,
one of them has brown hair. So do you care if I say their names?
I don't care.
Okay, so I don't care to say their names. They both, still to my knowledge, do readings. They do paid readings and they do free readings. One of them, her name is Rachel, and she is on YouTube under the Spiritual Awakening. And then one is on YouTube under the Huggable Healer. The Spiritual Awakening, it's Spiritual Awakening. Here, I'll just post their links. It'll be easier. These are the two that I know are, and I have thought long and hard about going to them with the Sebastian case and saying, will you do a reading? Will you tell me? But I don't think that they would, because I'm not close enough, and with him being, autistic and everything. So, but a legit psychic or a legit medium, a psychic is a bit of a weird term for me, because they're not telling the future. They're more mediums. They're reading the dead, but they will tell you, don't tell me anything. But it's like, they couldn't have known about that painting. They couldn't have known about Nick's Bible. That is not something that you can get on Google and put my name in. And they didn't even have my name at the time. So they wouldn't have been able to Google it. So do I believe in them? Yes. But again, it goes back to, you don't want to feed the medium. And people, like, some of them, I just don't. You know how you get a sense of if somebody's being genuine? You say it all the time. You feel that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And a lot of the people that I've seen on here, except for what's her name? Donna Serafina or something like that.
Donna Serafina. Mm-hmm.
Is that how it's pronounced?
Reverend Donna Serafina.
So I get So I get kind of that feeling of genuineness off of her. But a lot of the other ones I've seen, I don't. But this case is so public, and so much information is in the public eye. It would have to be something extremely specific to, and I would have to say Seth, because I don't think that Sebastian would come in for Katie, for me to believe it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot I'm still on camera.
Hey.
Oh, I forgot to turn my camera off after I showed that picture. But yeah, I mean, certain things like that. Yeah, I mean, some of them are legit, and some of them are like, yeah, you just want views.
Well, that's just it. Like, even when I'm watching them, I mean, like, so many people say so many different things, and so yes, do I even know myself that there's life after death? Absolutely. um that's just through my own personal experience. Do I believe that there's good psychic mediums out there? Absolutely. um I was read by card and palm another time. That lady freaked me out. I tried to forget her, but she was saying a lot of things that were true as well, like really true. But she started talking to me about somebody dying within 5 years. At that time, I have my child. I don't want to hear, like, I don't want to hear anything like that. I don't like that type of ring. Just tell me about my life and whatever. She like pinpointed it to a T on my palm. So with her, it was kind of like a bit of everything. I've been to others, absolutely suck ass. I've used online mediums during a point in my life after my divorce, but it was in regards to something else. But anyways, um, uh, maybe one or two were actually kind of decent. Other than that, it was a fucking waste of a few $1,000s for sure. Um, and so when I watch these mediums, or when I watch these tarot readers that are about cards and stuff like that, I mostly take them with a grain of salt because they're cards. It's not like a medium to me. This is people whipping out cards, and they can make those cards for in a sense to fit their storyline. If a card comes up, right? Or like what we saw this lady do today. She was looking at a card and then she just puts it back in the deck, and it kind of stuff like that. You're like, oh, so any other card you're going to talk about, but this one you didn't obviously like, so you put it back in the deck. Now, in saying that, I also thought that she comes across as just a person, like, that's not really got a care in the world, whipping out her cards, and she's just doing a reading, and she's doing it naturally without it being like some of them are just fucking off the charts of, got their whole fucking vibe shit going on behind them and crap like that. And it's not like there aren't good ones out there. Uh, so when I honestly do watch these type of ones myself, again, if they're just fucking in outer space ones, fuck off. I don't even have the time of day for you to listen to you whack job. um but like one like her, okay, I thought I'd watch it for a minute just because it was showing up in my feed or whatever. And I was like, and then the first thing I think she was talking about was about house for sale, things that we kind of have heard about with the Proudfoots, that they're looking to sell their home and stuff like that, whatever. um and then but was paying attention to her. But the main reason why I do sometimes like watch these, I'm just looking for somebody else's reasoning to why what happened to Sebastian, in a sense. Meaning there's only so many things that could have, but I'm just kind of looking for some normalcy to the case of some things that would make sense, or perhaps a different thought that I haven't thought about, that would make sense, right? Without going too far off of Occam's razor type of thing. Um, so
And I do
that's
that
why,
too.
yeah.
I'm like you. I do that too. If I see one pop up, I'm like, oh, well, I'll watch it, just to see. And there's other, do I visit the drama channels every once in a while? Yeah, just to see if they're thinking something maybe I haven't thought of.
Yeah, I get both of
But,
them within like
like
a minute.
you, I'll watch it. I've watched a couple tarot readings for Sebastian just to see, what it said. But like anything else, you take it with a grain of salt. But, something I sent you the other day, and I've not put it out there publicly. You're the only one that knows, but I'll go ahead and put it out there. Seth, if you're watching, I'm sorry for what I'm about to say. So, we've talked about how, I'll pray before bed and I'll think about Sebastian and I'll talk to him here and there. And the other night I was doing something and I was thinking about Sebastian and I ended up falling asleep. And I woke up in an absolute ball of tears. I don't remember exactly what the dream was. I remember it having to do with Sebastian, but I couldn't tell you like what was going on in the dream. And I woke up crying and I heard plain as day, as if he were standing next to me, I'm not scared of them anymore.
You're not scared of what?
And I ended up crying myself back to sleep.
You're not, what did he say again?
He said, I'm not scared of them anymore.
Yeah, okay. Just because that word kind of seemed to me cut out when you said it. You're not scared of them anymore, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was like, I take it with a grain of salt. Was it really Sebastian? Was it my brain making it up? Was it, just because I want answers? I don't know. But because I'm not a medium, I don't read dead people. But it was just something that, I think it's possible. But even if he's alive, I mean, he's somewhere. Like, maybe one of these tariffs will be right. And they'll be like, well, he's at such and such, he's in the woods, or, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Exactly. Like for me, that's just it, right? Is that when Jaron died, and that's when I'm telling you about my experience, right? When he died, I was just saying a prayer. And then, like I said, I just thought it was a voice in my own, I just thought it was my own voice in my own head answering me back, right? Why would I really think anything different? But then when he told me 2 words and those words came true, a week later at his funeral, his favorite toys that I didn't even know what those words were related to. And like I said, it was at the very end of the ceremony that Michelle literally was about to walk off the podium and then comes back and says those 2 words and that they were his favorite toys. It just flabbergasted me beyond belief. And that's when I knew, because I think everyone has they want to know, what happens to us after we die? Are we still alive? Do we get reincarnated? Are we nothing burgers, and stuff like that? I think everyone kind of wonders, but I think that if people knew, then they wouldn't be as scared to die. So I'm not as scared to die at all. I could die tomorrow and I'm fine with that. I could die 10 years from now. But to me, Jaron gave me that gift of knowledge to know that our loved ones are all around us. And all we have to do is just talk to them. And whether you, you can't force something to happen. And like my twin sister was doing. And she was like, Mom, if you're listening, I want this song to play on American Idol. Like, that's literally what she said. Then Tang is like, yeah, didn't happen. Really? Wasn't like I asked for my experience. I was just chosen, I guess is how I look at it, because I'm a very open personality and other people are very judgmental about this stuff. Me, if it's there, it's there. If it's not, it's not. In life, I'm just kind of like, never say never about things. Never say never. Just having a very open mind to things. Yet don't get put in a box of that, like always people try to put mediums, especially in a box, as if they're something about scientific. You know what? Go fuck yourself, you scientific people, on this shit. You have to have an open mind about everything. And if you want to put yourself in a box and that's the world that you want to live in, then I feel sorry for you, to be honest, because you have to have an open mind to everything. cases, your life, everything. It's, like my sister, for instance, she says, I said, like, she's always had a horrible love life, and, she whines about it all the time and blah, 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 blah. And I said, well, you need to find yourself a young husband like I did, whatever. And she goes, yeah, I just don't get that. I don't get that. Why would somebody be interested in someone that's 21 years younger? Why? Because they don't fucking care either. There was no care about mine and my husband's age per se, the 21-year age difference. My husband is the best man that I ever met. But you know what? She's like, yeah, I could never do that. I could never be with someone like that. Right. You stick in your fucking box. You're never going to get fucking married ever. You're going to die a miserable cunt at the end of the day because you put yourself in a box of misery. And that's exactly how you'll die. Just a miserable fucking person. Because she puts herself in a box. And it's all about some sort of, negative energy that she just gives off. And people can feel it a mile wide around her, And I just feel sorry for people like that. That's my twin sister I'm talking about, by the way. Anyways, I'm sure her sonny here.
But I mean, I definitely I believe in life after death. I believe in God and the afterlife and what the Bible tells me. Am I the perfect Christian? No, I'm not. But little things that have happened, with Nick dying and when my mom died. And so my grandpa died about almost 2 years ago now. And he was really sick, and he was, in his final moments, and everybody was gathered around. And my cousin said, my grandpa had a very strict schedule, right? And he got up at the same time every day for 80 years and went to bed at the same time, and got off work at the same time. And he owned a farm, and so every day at 6 o'clock he would come in and he would get dinner and kind of do whatever. Once he retired, and my uncle and my cousins took over, so everybody was there. And my cousin said, I hope Grandpa doesn't think we're working overtime tonight, because he if he's ready to go, we knew it was within hours. And so I wasn't there for personal reasons, and but my cousin had told me that he said that he hoped Grandpa didn't work overtime tonight. And this was right before 6 o'clock. So about 6:30, my dad and everybody told me the room got really cold. My uncle and my mother
got really cold, right? The room got really cold, right?
Yes, the room got really cold.
That's exactly what my
and then right
said.
after the after the room got cold, my grandfather passed away. And they said, I guess my aunt said that that was my mom and my uncle coming to get Grandpa. But that is something very common that you hear, is the room gets cold. And somebody who has worked in my position when I was a medic and worked in the hospital, we can tell you that generally a room will get cold or cooler right before somebody passes away. It's just it's what happens. And something that was funny when my grandma died is we got through the funeral and we went outside, and the pallbearers were loading her up, into the hearse thing to go to the gravesite. And out of courtesy, it's common to put your phone on silent, turn it off, And my uncle's phone just started blaring my grandma's favorite song as we were putting her in the hearse. And everybody outside, we took like a split-second pause, looked at my uncle, because his phone had been on silent. And he held it up and he said, it's on silent. It shouldn't be playing anything.
Yeah.
And it was playing grandma's favorite song as they loaded her into the hearse. And then, of course, we all started laughing. But little things like that in life, if you look at them and if you believe in the afterlife, can give you some hope. But not only can it give you some hope, it can give you some healing.
Absolutely. Now I really do have to get off, Melissa, because my husband, I asked him if he's ready for bed, and it's 11:47 here, and I know it's way later over there. But I want to say to that, that's exactly it. Hit the nail on the head. Is that uh, for me? I've already had my experience, so I don't need anyone to validate for me. I don't need a medium to validate for me anything, to be honest with you, and stuff like that. Just because I've already had my experience. Um, it can provide people with healing for sure. So just quickly, so like I said, when my twin sister, when I came back into the room and just prior to my mom dying, my twin sister said to me, son, she said, she was so cold. She goes, the room got so cold. And next thing you know, like when I woke up that more, like, so I normally there's two people holding my mom's hand, but me and my sister were so exhausted because we were there the whole time in the hospital, like for like the entire week before she died. Like we were there and every single minute, sleeping there, everything. Anyway, so I woke up, I looked at my mom's eyes, and I said, Tam, do you see mom's eyes? They're not glossy anymore. Like it's like there was a film that was almost on her eyes in the last few days. And I said, look, there's no whatever. And then I said, do you want me to take care of mom? So she went to go lie down. And I ended up thinking about what this lady had said to me. That was my mom's friend. And she said, well, maybe she's not letting go because you guys are always holding her hand and it's hard for her to let go. I decided when my sister went and laid down that I was going to go outside a hospital and have a smoke, that perhaps this lady was right. I ended up putting the Journey's End book in her hand. And when I came back upstairs about 10 minutes later, 15 tops, probably more like 10, 15, whatever, I stopped at the nurse's desk. And then that's when Haley came out and said, Grandma passed away. And my sister was telling me about how cold the room was. And she's like, Son, you just don't understand. It was like the room was so cold. And then mom passed. And I'm just like, so when you say that, like I said, absolutely. And the only reason I would, like I said, to even tell my own story is honestly, if only everyone could have an experience themselves and just understand that they are there, that they are around us, and you can just talk to them, but that we'll see them again. And if they could just have that for healing, just knowing, that would be one of my biggest gifts that I would give to anyone, is have an experience like I did, so that you yourself can know that you can communicate with your loved ones. I talk to my mom and stuff all the time around me, and that you can do that. But if anything, I'd wish is that people could heal just by knowing that the last moment that they spent with them, that they do get to rejoin them again. So that would be my biggest gift if I ever had to give somebody that, was just that wish of knowledge. Just like I could wish I had the gift of the power of a medium to tell Seth where his son is, to be able to see that through my own brain from, specialness or whatever you want to call it. But I don't. But I can tell you I had the gift of knowledge. And that's why about death, I look at it in two different ways. I look at it as the sadness that somebody's lost a child, but knowing in my heart that it's not the last time, So with that being said, I got to go. Thank you for sharing those with me, because I do believe that there's definitely some good ones out there. In Sebastian's case, don't forget about the walk, March 1st, 4 days is his anniversary. We do challenge you to make your avatar with Sebastian's face on it that day, and we'll do a fundraiser. Can you do me a favor? Well, no, I'll ask you this later, actually. If I could make my brother again, we'd probably have a big judo session on there. Yeah.
And
So, yeah.
something you said, Sonny, there at the end, I just want to say it is very common for people who are going to pass that certain people not be around. And just real quick, there's like my grandma. Everybody was around grandma, and grandma waited till everybody left the room, and then she passed. And it was the same with my grandpa. I was there. I was pushing medicine. My cousins were pushing medicine in his last days. And I told my cousin, I said, hey, I gotta run to the store. Let's all just, mom's got him. Let's go to the store. Mom was in the other room and grandpa passed before we got back. And my best friend, her husband walked out of the room. I told him, I said, hon, you need to go get some sleep. And he walked out of the room, and her daughter was sleeping and her son was sleeping. And I could tell that she was getting ready to go. And so I let go of her hand, and I told her, I said, if you've got to go, go. And I called the nurse, and then I went and got her husband, and she passed away while we were there barely, but she passed. She started the main process of passing when nobody was there, and that's something that's very common.
Yeah.
But just speak to your loved ones. If you believe in the afterlife or not, it is healing and comforting.
Absolutely. Like I said, I'm always like, Mom, go bug Tanya. I don't need you. I love you, but she's the one that needs help, not me. Speak to Jaren all the time as well. I don't do it as much as I used to, for sure. I used to do it for years all the time. Now it's just, sometimes I don't remember to, and other times I do. I'm just like, hi, fam, down up there. How's it going? Et cetera, et cetera.
I still talk to my sister. What's funny is like stuff will go missing, and I'll be like, Lisa Marie, put it back and leave my stuff alone. And it's like, no sooner than I say that, all the weird stuff that's going on will stop. But one time my mom, she asked my sister, she's like, you want to...
Don't get into it. It's not going to be a long story, is it? Because I really got to go.
No, it's really quick. My mom said, my sister's favorite show was Dirty Dancing, and Mom said, Lisa Marie, you want to watch Dirty Dancing? And Mom took her picture and put it in front of the TV, and the whole picture, frame and all, just went face down. And my mom goes, well, I guess she didn't want to watch Dirty Dancing this time. But I mean, you just have to talk to your loved ones. They're there. Just talk to them.
Yep. I'm going to go talk to my loved one who wants to come to bed.
Go massage the balls.
I know. Anyways, again, each to their own on that whole part, Melissa, but I mean, I don't care if it bores people. Don't watch. For other people, if it helps heal their hearts a little bit, that's all I would ever wish out of it all. Anyways, one day we'll just have to do a full-blown story. Maybe people want to join us up on the lives and tell their stories, and stuff like that. But anyways, thank you, Melissa. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, mods. Thank you, Miss Dog Lover, for your $19.99 super chat earlier. Appreciate that. And again, 4 more days before Sebastian is. I don't know if I'm doing a live tomorrow. I just might chill. I might do a live. I'm not really sure. I'm just going to wing it. If I come across something interesting that I want to talk about with Sebastian case online, then I will. Other than that, I'll just YOLO and wing it, to be honest with you. I'll see where life takes me tomorrow. Like, more out of bed than I was today. Today I was totally in bed, got up, took a piss, came back to bed, slept, watched YouTube for again, repeat like 10 times at least on there. And I was like, yeah. So it's only because SF Investigates totally pissed me off. And Melissa too. Anyway.
Yeah, if it wouldn't have been for that, we wouldn't have been live tonight.
Yeah, no. Anyways, fuck FS. He's a useless tit. Prayers to Sebastian Rogers. And yeah, that's about it, you guys. Love you all. Exactly. Take care, guys. God bless. Don't forget to hit the like button for Sebastian. All right. Good night. Good night, Melissa. Ready?
Good night, y'all.